That's phallic.
See that cocky it is?
What was that song on Ithaca that I was meant to fucking find for you?
What song?
One of the songs on Ithaca by now, it's a really long song title.
Oh, just long song title is all we were looking for, I think.
Papyrus containing the spell to preserve its possessor against attacks from he who is in the water.
I think that's the one I was listening to.
That's incredible.
Gnarly. I got listening to some more Nile, like.
I've listened to I remember listening to Nile when I was like, I don't know, like 13, being like, this is too much for me.
Cannabis Corpse have got like a song called Papyrus containing the spell to protect its possessor against attacks from he who, and then it just ends. So good.
I fucking love really long song titles.
Do you reckon we could pull that off one day? Like a stupidly long song title?
Punk album's the one for that.
Yeah, totally.
I'll do it, don't worry.
What's it going to be?
What's what going to be?
The long song title.
That's mega long song title.
Oh, okay.
You've got to come up with it on the spot.
Nah.
Well, what's it going to be about?
I need to know that before I can name it, obviously. Is that what's that? That one bit?
Nah, it's chickpea noodles.
Chickpea noodles.
Try them.
Let's have a wee chickpea noodle.
You want a chickpea noodle?
Aye, go on, if that's what the hype's all about.
This does not taste like a noodle.
Are we recording?
Mm.
Okay.
It's quite tiny though.
Oh.
We've done a couple of weeks where we haven't been snacking at the start, and I haven't liked it.
Oh, that was glory to my crunchers as well. That went hard.
Did I show you guys my damaged cruncher?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, that's
There.
a damaged cruncher.
It's like black.
So that's a black cruncher.
That's a sore tooth you've got there. Is it sore?
There's no tooth anymore. No, not at all.
It's not a sore tooth at all. It's actually an unsore.
It just feels all weird and rough because I bit the tooth off.
You bit the tooth off.
I was eating some
Clean it
granola and it was a crunchier granola than usual. It was a new one. I was like, I tried Tesco's Own. Tesco's Own was pretty tasty. And then I tried Jordan's. Jordan's was a bit soft. So then I tried.
I don't like
Co-op's
Jordan's
Own.
granola.
Nah, it's a bit mushy.
chewy, eh?
Yeah. But so I tried the Scotmid one. It was on deal at my work. I was like, I'm out of granola. Fuck it. And it had banana chips in it, and it was really crunchy. So I just crunched through it. I was like, that's a fucking crunchy banana chip, and I felt like something happened up there. And then I proceeded to finish the whole bowl of granola, and then I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh fuck, my tooth.
So
is
do you think
gone.
you crunched up your tooth and
I definitely ate it.
and ate your crunched up tooth?
'cause I
That's
just-
cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah.
Nice. What flavour of granola was it? Apart from just
Tropical.
tropical.
Yeah, so
What
it
does
had, like,
tropical
little
taste like?
tooth.
Tooth flavoured granola.
Had like
Oh,
banana
that's
chips
grim.
and then like wee mango bits and
Did
wee
they have
papaya
wee
bits
coconut
and that.
shards and shit?
Yeah,
'Cause
and like flame raisins.
That's how they make
That sounds
that.
lethal. Flame
Flame
raisins.
raisins.
I don't know. They just taste like regular raisins, but they're lit.
I wonder what a flame raisin is. It's like a blood orange.
Yeah, what is a blood orange? Is it just an orange that's
Red
more-
on the inside, I think. But then
Red
is that
on
not?
the
Is that
inside. So
no?
much
That's a
better.
grapefruit.
Do they
Nah, but
taste so
blood
much
orange
better?
is a different thing to a grapefruit, but it's still an orange that's red on the inside. Grapefruits are sour as fuck.
But grapefruits and grapes don't have much in common either, because grapes are a fruit, so they're grapefruits, and a grapefruit's a totally different thing.
Where are grapefruits from?
Where are grapefruits from? Trees? I don't know. Wherever the grapefruit, they grow on trees, right? I'm not just being stupid.
Surely.
Grapefruits grow on trees.
Mind that time that you took a grapefruit to a guitar recording? Was it a grapefruit? And then you were like, oh, I'm just going to eat it. And I was like, all right. Because you were like,
I wasn't aware of how sour grapefruits were, so I bought one and thinking it was going to be like an orange. Tried to peel it, and you can't. Right?
It was one of those things where it was just like, from the outside looking in, that's psychopathic behaviour. Just like, oh, like, you know, like there's one thing to be like, oh, I'll just munch this apple, or here's an orange. And it's like, you brought out this big grapefruit. Like, I'm just going to eat this. And I just kind of let it slide, thinking, all right, well, we'll see how this develops. And then, like, after maybe like half an hour of, I think it was me working away, and then turning around to you, and you still kind of had it in your hand, just kind of maybe just thinking about it. And then I let that silence hang for a bit, and you're like, you got a bowl or something or something?
Yeah, you had to
here's
grab
a
me a
bowl.
bowl, yeah.
And then like maybe another couple of minutes, like, have you got like a spoon or something? Have you got a knife so I can cut this open?
It was so much effort, and then it tasted nice, but you can't really just eat it on its own.
Yeah.
How are you
Like-
supposed to eat a grapefruit? Like,
I don't know, they're more of a garnish fruit though. Like, you slice them up and put them in drinks and shit, but you never really see someone slicing one up and eating them.
Yeah, that's why I was so shook when I saw that you'd taken a grapefruit.
For some reason, it never occurred to me that the reason you don't see people eating them, like, on the street and stuff is because it doesn't work.
Hassle.
It didn't work.
It tasted good, but after, like, 3 spoonfuls, it was like, this is a bit sour.
Yeah.
It's a bit citrusy. They are nice though, and I really like grapefruit flavoured stuff. Grapefruit's trendy at the moment.
Is it?
Yeah, a lot of like the spirits and stuff at my work either recommend or are already like infused with grapefruit.
See, I wasn't sure if it was trendy or not, because like at my work we're kind of just weird. So if like my old boss, he just refused to buy lemons and let people have lemons with their gin and tonics. I don't know why, because he just thought he was better than everyone. So we had lemons, oranges, apples and cucumber.
Right.
So it would just be like, we'd run out of limes because we're a shambles. So like halfway through a busy event, and we just go on to what other fruit we had. So I'd just be like,
that's
serving
sick.
like gin and tonics with like grapefruit and stuff. And then
I think it would still work, like, but
it's fine.
I don't
It's
know.
like anything citrus. That's all it is. If it's a dry gin, then it's apparently anything citrus will infuse the botanicals. But then there's certain botanicals that work
I love
better
that
with certain
wanky
things.
patter.
I probably said it wrong. I just don't know or care.
That's it.
I know enough to basically like make an angry customer stop shouting at me. That's basically it. It's like, why have you given me that? And it's
Just
like,
do what I do and just plead total ignorance to what grapefruits are. I'm like, what are you talking? So fuck, this is a lemon. Do you
It's an orange, mate. I'm just giving you an orange.
How to eat grapefruit, and there's so many like instructional videos and shit. On it.
There's actually instructional
must be,
videos
like,
on how to eat a grapefruit.
3 easy ways to eat a grapefruit with pictures.
So
Must be hard for a lot of people. It's not just you.
Well, if you need a fucking instructional video on how to eat one, I don't feel so bad now having to get a bowl and a knife and shit. Do you prefer lemons or limes?
Depends. Are you in my drink? In my gin and tonic?
Just in general. If you had to eradicate one from the earth.
I mean, they go for with totally different things, though.
Do they fuck? They're like the same fruit, except one's yellow and one's green.
Nah.
Really?
You put lemon with your pancakes or whatever, a lime and a nice wee fucking butternut curry. Like. But I wouldn't put lemon.
I suppose lemon in your butternut curry would probably not end the world.
No, but lime's so much better for it. But I wouldn't put lime on my pancakes, you know?
I'd probably put lime on my pancakes.
I mean, now that I've said it, I kind of think I want
Sounds
to.
delicious, doesn't it?
We actually... But wait a second. Welcome to episode 8 of the Disp podcast.
What episode is it?
This is definitely episode 8, not
Are you
episode
100%
6,
sure?
not episode 5, not episode 7. I was so proud of the last episode because I thought it was really, really good, and Bailey was amazing, and it listened great. It was actually my favourite episode so far.
That was my favourite thing about listening to it.
But
Was
then-
like, oh, here's episode 7, click. Welcome to episode 6 of the
What
podcast.
a fucking idiot. And I was like so certain on doing a proper nice intro for Bailey, making everything good, and then the first thing you hear is welcome to episode 6, and it's just not episode 6. So stupid.
You fucked it.
I totally fucked it.
You fucking fucked it.
But nonetheless, welcome to episode 8 of the Disp podcast. We're going to dive right in and chat about pancakes, because a lot of people have actually messaged me saying this is a debate for the podcast, because I posted a little poll up online on Facebook. You can do these little polls and all your friends and stuff can vote on them.
Yeah, thanks, Dad.
And it's, my dad might actually be listening to this, so he might actually need the explanation.
Hey, jokes.
But yeah, the two options were wee fat pancakes, like your Scotch pancakes. Or
Is that what they officially are? Scotch pancakes?
Yes, thanks for
Wee fat
that.
Pancakes.
Yes,
Okay.
or big flat pancakes, or as some people call them, crepes.
Mate, fucking... Oh, what was it?
Are you
Jamie
okay?
was talking about the Scotch pancakes the other day, and he was like, he kept going on, because he was reading your poll. And
It all
getting
kicked
fired
off,
into it.
man. I was getting like
Oh, mate.
DMs and shit about pancakes. And actually, Aaron from Tempered sent me a message today, and he called me the pancake master.
Well, I mean, you have the right the right choice, man. Fucking Scotch pancakes suck ass.
You're
Crepes
a
for
big
the win.
flat crepper.
Oh, fuck yeah.
What a fucking legend.
Yeah, I
so
hate
happy
Scotch
to have you here
pancakes. I'm
today.
always so disappointed when it's like pancake day and my fam's all like, woo, you fucking Scotch thing.
By the way, we're very nicely appreciative of you coming on the podcast again, Jack. Welcome back.
Oh,
yeah,
what's
well,
up?
yeah.
It's
Thanks
me,
for
Jack.
being back.
Hello.
We still need to get Liam involved, but
Yeah.
we're working on it.
Yeah.
If we're gonna have any poll, we should have, well, not really a poll, basically just a campaign bully, an online campaign bullying of Tucker to get onto this podcast.
I think the only way to get Tucker on the podcast is
The
if he-
Punkcast.
I think the only way is if he doesn't know he's coming on the podcast and the mics are all set up and you just put him in a room.
Well, you've ruined it now because
Liam, don't listen to the last bit. I can't do that.
Don't worry, we'll cut that bit out. But yeah, the pancake thing all took off, and like I was getting DMs left, right, and centre about my pancake allegiance.
pancake allegiance. Yeah.
And there was I can't remember who. I think it was Dave from Skelped had suggested we make it a podcast debate, and it's quite relevant seeing as Shrove Tuesday is just passed us by.
Who actually made pancakes on Shrove Tuesday?
I did. I made vegan pancakes for the first time, and they didn't really work that well because
Yeah.
the batter was really thick.
I'm sure I've tried to make vegan pancakes before, and yeah, I was like,
The
not
batter
sure
was
about
really
this.
thick, and I unwillingly eventually made wee fat pancakes
Drops
and
gone.
became the fucking antithesis of all my fucking dreams. And there I was preaching to the choir about pancakes when actually behind the scenes I was making myself
just crying into your pancakes,
vegan Scotch pancakes, just
making
like
salty pancakes with your tears.
yeah. So yeah, Shrove Tuesday. Did you make pancakes?
Nah, I was halfway through my 2 till 10 at work before I realised that it was Shrove Tuesday, and I got really upset and I started crying.
It wasn't that obvious this year.
Yeah, at work
What? Because you had missed out on pancakes?
again for like 2 or 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
There was like, I remember like the first time I properly hung out with people from college, and I was just like, I didn't really know that many people, and I was just like, oh, I want to make friends. They all seem nice, so I invited them all round to like my mum's house at the time. We all had pancakes, and it was incredible.
That's
It was
fucking
such a
ace.
wholesome time.
Wow.
But nothing's really taught that, so I think that's maybe why I've just never bothered. Also,
yeah.
I've always forgot.
Yeah.
Your pancake days kind of peaked by the sound of it.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Jack, did you make pancakes?
I didn't make any pancakes, nah.
Were pancakes made for you by anyone?
Nah. I mean, there was some.
Did you eat a pancake on pancake
I ate
day?
one
Right.
crepe on pancake
Tell us
day.
about
But it was just like I opened
No
up the
fucking
fridge.
crap
at,
Wednesday,
like-
is it, mate?
Nah, I got home at like midnight or something, and there was fucking a packet of
Wait,
crap as their crepes.
Midnight.
Oh no, it was just before midnight. It was still pancake day,
Right, okay.
technically. Yeah.
I was about to
Get
go
it right
fucking
in.
mental.
I know. But there was a pack of like fucking crap pre-made Asda crepes, so I pulled one out and.
Oh, so you didn't
scrambled
make one? It was
no,
just
no,
like
no,
a,
it was like proper.
was it one of the ones that was
minging.
like rolled up in a wee packet? And it's got
No,
chocolate
no,
through
no,
it?
no. It was
Crusty
just like a,
crepes.
straight up. They're all flat on top of each other in the packet. And I
Was it a Scotch pancake?
pulled one out. It was good. No fucking way. I wouldn't bothered if it was a Scotch pancake, man. But,
A shancake.
Drop
I call it.
scones. So Jamie was like, "Oh, they're called drop scones," and I was like, "I've never heard that
drops?
before in my fucking life." Eh? But I
Who
looked it
said
up.
that?
Jamie. I know he was going mental.
Excuse me.
Bless
You're
you.
so excused.
Thanks. I feel blessed to be around you guys,
Oh.
even without sneezing.
I fucking love sneezing, by the way.
So Jamie Kyles,
Yeah, Jamie Cowles. Yeah.
does he listen?
Nah, I don't think so.
Right, that's fine. So I can tell him he's a no, I'm not even going to say that. That's nasty.
I'm not even going to say a nasty word.
People can eat whatever pancakes they want. I'm just glad that there's a day dedicated to pancakes.
It's incredible.
Because that's surely just a United Kingdom thing, right?
Is it not something to do with
No,
Jesus?
I'm pretty sure it's an American thing as well.
Something to do with Jesus,
No.
right?
The Americans can't be on this shit. They s-
If anything, it's...
is it more American than it is British?
Yeah, I probably would have thought it was.
No. Jack, can you do a fact check on the origins
I'm
of
on
Pancake
it.
Day? Thank you very much.
Pancake Day.
If it's an American thing, we can very well cut it out.
Oh, the
from
first
podcast.
thing is pagan origins. Whoa.
Wow.
That's pretty metal.
Custom of
But
Christians
it's
to be-
Scotch pancakes, though. Like, we've got a big finger in this whole pancake
I
thing
think it
because we've
is
got our own kind.
United Kingdom, Ireland, Commonwealth countries. Yeah, I don't think it's an American thing.
Oh well, fair enough. You'll be glad then, Billy.
Or
American
Christian.
pancakes don't sit well with me. Like these sort of sweet and savoury
Dude, this-
pancakes.
Naturally
article,
mistrustful
like
of
these
American pancakes.
Big, fat, fucking greasy breakfast pancakes with bacon and oh, fuck
I
that.
have absolutely no problem with that.
Yeah.
You use into that?
If you're the kind of person who has a pancake for breakfast, you're a psychopath. But at the same time, I will fuck with you. You're incredible.
I said, well,
Pancakes. I made pancakes once with like bacon and maple syrup.
was it nice?
It was incredible. It was a taste sensation I never knew was coming.
You can't be putting bacon on your pancakes.
You can, but at the same time, I went and done it, and it was great.
Right.
It was good. Like, it's weird. I was just confounded by how well the flavors worked together as I was eating it. It was like, I can't believe it. Crunch. Why is this working? Crunch. I love this. Crunch. I
again.
hate myself. Crunch. It was great.
You know you can get
You can't really crunch in
crispy
pancake.
bacon and maple syrup flavoured kettle chips in like a pink bag. You ever tried them?
No,
Ooh.
that sounds a bridge too far, but at the same time, I will buy them. And
You
I
can
will
also
probably
get
love them.
salted caramel flavoured kettle chips. And they're like sweet.
Kettle chips are the
Don't fuck
Toryest of crisps, aren't they?
Don't fuck with them. Yeah, that's some Tory
Tory
shit right
chips.
there.
Tory shit.
Tory chips. Oh,
Wait,
fucking
this
hell.
article is so good. This is the first part. This movable feast is determined by Easter. The expression Shrove Tuesday comes from the word shrive, meaning absolve, to call the faithful to confession before the solemn season of Lent.
That's fucking sick.
And for
Lent
people-
as well. Lent's a thing. Is Lent
Yeah.
happening now?
I think that's like why
Is Shrove
is Pancake Day not like the
day before Lent? Is it? Is that
Lent?
right?
I don't know why you're looking at me.
I don't know.
I'm
You
the
seem
one
like the
with the
guy that
wiki
would give up
page,
something
bro.
for Lent.
Nah, I've never given up.
Shrove
anything
Tuesday
for
was
Lent.
named after the custom of Christians to be shriven before the
be
start of Lent. I don't know what it means
Get
to be
shrived.
shriven.
So who
The
all
word
got
shrove
shrived
is a
this
form of-
pancake day?
The word shrove is a form of the word shrive, which means to abstain absolution for one's sins by way of confession and doing
Abstain
penance. So
absolution.
you're eating
Right.
pancakes to absolve yourself of your sins.
So it's basically all the more reason, though, really. But do you think that's like it exists to be like a day where you pig the fuck out before
Well,
Lent?
when you
like,
stop
as far
eating.
as I know, it was like pancakes where it was like at the end of like a certain season, you would just make whatever food you had with whatever you had left.
Okay,
And it's
so that's
basically
a,
just like eggs and
flour. It's basically when you've got
Just like
the
staple
basic
stuff.
ingredients and nothing
Yeah.
else.
And we'll just like, well, we'll use up all of what we've got left, and then they came up with pancakes, and I was like, what the fuck? This is incredible.
This
Let's
has went
have this
so
every
much
day.
deeper than I thought it was going to. We've learned about the history of Pancake Day.
Elsewhere,
people
the day
little
has
facts I know
also
about
been
Pancake
called
Day.
Mardi Gras, meaning Fat Tuesday. In Germany, the day is known as Fastnacht Dienstag. In the Netherlands, it's known as Vastenavond.
These are
Wow.
all so.
Wow.
I didn't know all these Portuguese, Spanish, and Italian countries. It's known as the Carnival.
Wow.
It all seems to come from like medieval times. Like for at least 1,000 years, people have been eating pancakes on this Tuesday.
That's really interesting, to be fair. Like,
I mean, anything
it's-
decent comes from medieval times.
Yeah,
But think,
Like, I don't know,
like
trebuchets.
beheading.
I just love
stuff
the
like
way.
that.
Well, I also. Do you not just love that about humans, though?
Yeah.
How we're so dastardly wrong in so many things, and we're fucking everything up, and everybody knows it, and no one gives a fuck, and that's fine because we're all just this blip. But for thousands of years, on a certain Tuesday,
Yeah.
every cunt's just had pancakes and forgot about everything.
It's just what we do, eh?
That's fantastic. Like, some traditions need to die, but that one I can get on board with. Just pancakes.
Yeah.
Pancakes on Tuesday.
Pancakes on Tuesdays. Crepe Wednesdays.
Drops
Waffle
on
Thursdays.
Thursday.
Drops gone Thursday. Sounds like a pop punk band.
Wait, say it again.
Drops Gone Thursday.
Sounds like a crusty pop punk band. Yeah.
Yeah. Drops gone Thursdays.
Yeah.
You never know.
You never know.
I think we should change the band name to Drops Gone Thursdays.
All the punk album drops gone Thursday. Is that about fuck the Tories?
Fuck the Tories.
Or factories?
Factories.
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 Fuck trees.
Amay.
Can we sign off this episode with fuck the Tories?
Fuck the Queen.
fuck the Queen of England.
Imagine you did fuck the Queen of England.
No.
Imagine you had no choice but to
Someone has.
have. I mean, yeah, someone has. But imagine if you personally had to.
What's the rules around having to? Like, oh, you have to, or your family's gonna die, or
Can you fuck her to death? Because that could be a win-win.
fuck the Queen to death?
Are we recording?
Yeah.
Oh no! Like, did it get all the context of that?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it's recording anymore, is it?
It is. Yeah.
It's just real small.
No.
It's just real small.
So when did you start recording? How much did
Fuck
I
the
talk about
Tories.
shagging the Queen?
I clicked record and went, what was that about shagging Tories or something?
No. That's a terrible time.
What are we going to talk about today?
Just one more thing before we move on. In future, right?
Yeah.
When we stop recording and I start saying dark things about the Queen, and I don't like the Queen, but come on, let me know that you're going to start recording.
No, I'm never going to do that.
Okay.
Shall we talk about writing the album, seeing as three of us are here?
Yeah, why not? And the three of us are probably going to give good content about it. Not that Liam didn't do anything. That sounds really shan, but like.
But he doesn't want to come on here, so.
Yeah, fuck him. He didn't do anything anyway.
He played drums and sat in his arse for the rest of the time, didn't he?
I know, what a fucking lazy pig.
To be fair,
He did shout some
to play
things.
drums, you do sit in your arse.
So he didn't even get off his arse at any point. The guy's a lazy pig. Seriously though, Liam actually was really good. He was probably the only efficient part of the process was when Liam was doing his
Yeah, the
drums.
only
He did
kind of-
kind of tan through that fucking.
The only part of the process that actually went according to plan was Tucker.
That was actually one of my favourite parts of the process. It was really fun just watching Liam do his thing. That's it though, because we were like, oh, he fucking sat on his arse and did nothing. But then, while he was recording drums, we all just sat on the couches at Chamber eating fucking way too much Stan. Like, fucking,
So many
come on,
sugar-induced
Liam.
headaches sitting in Chamber because we went a little and got so many sugars.
Yeah,
So
it was
good though.
incredible though.
That was great.
It's like
I spent so
10p
little
for
money
a
on
sugar.
so much sugar.
I was pigging out massively at that period of time as well. I was
Yeah.
just in a very dark dietary position where I was just fucking porking out on
When did we
everything. It was
record the drums?
incredible.
March last year.
March 2018. Can you believe that?
It's a year.
That's like
Yeah.
a year ago. Fucking hell, it's March 2019 now.
Christ.
I mean, a year's all right.
A year's a blip, man.
I mean, a year's all right for like that kind of thing. Although when you think about it,
I'm
it really
still-
shouldn't have taken that.
I'm still
long.
disgusted with ourselves, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it's fine.
Still shocked and appalled.
The fantastic thing is, though, is as of today, as of about an hour and a half ago, we made our first public announcement about this album that was more than just, we promise the album's coming soon, folks.
Yeah.
So it's now in the public eye as to when it's going to get released.
Yeah,
so
it's the launch for it.
to celebrate that, we should be talking a bit about it today.
God, that makes sense, doesn't it? Oh wow, that was a happy accident.
It's all came together really nicely. But I do feel like a weight has been lifted from my shoulders now that it's
Yeah, like a
Posted
2-year long
about-
wait.
posted about the event. This is when it's happening, folks.
Yeah.
You know, that's the first stage of getting the ball rolling.
I feel like the weight was lifted off my shoulders. But I don't know, it didn't really feel like a weight was lifted off my shoulder. It was more just sort of like, okay, I don't need to worry about that anymore. And now it's kind of like been so long that I've not even thought about it. Now every time I'm thinking about it, it's just excitement now.
Yeah.
It's like, oh God, we get to finally do this now.
Yeah.
This is meant to be the fun bit, right? When
Yeah.
we can now just start playing it live and talk to people about it and, you know, push it and get excited about people listening to it and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like it's been a long time coming.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully somebody actually wants to listen to it, but you know.
There's usually a few people out there that want to listen to it.
Yeah.
Like, we're okay. We're okay. It's not nobody.
It's been quite exciting as well, playing some of the new stuff and realising that we're actually not that bad at it.
I kind of feel that we were always going to be really reasonably okay. We spent so much time on it.
Yeah, but then I think like we kind of started jamming like nearly half of it
Yeah.
just before it was ready,
Mhm.
and then the other half of the album that we hadn't really played together. It's like, oh, like that's we've
True.
nailed it. We've managed to get it recorded, and now we've stopped thinking about it and put it away. So when we get around to practicing it, it's like, oh fuck! But the past couple of practices, I'm like, oh let's try thrash rock, fucking let's try and tan it through a few times, and then boom, it's like, oh, this is actually really not bad.
I think we were always so scared about trying it because we're like, oh God, how the hell is this going to go? And every time we play it, we're like, oh yeah, it's fine.
We kind of built up this thing in our heads where basically half the album we'd always played live.
Mhm.
Like, as we wrote them, we started playing them. and the other half we kind of wrote, recorded, and then put away on a shelf because it was like we're not going to play them until the album comes out, and it sort of built up this anticipation like we suck at playing these 4 and we're great at playing the other 4.
Yeah.
But then
Just
every
because
time
we
we go to the practice room to play the ones that we don't play live yet, it's always a bit of a surprise when we play them well.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, no, we actually can do this.
Mm.
And it's like, I don't know. They are trickier to play though. Like there's a reason that those 4 are like the last 4,
I
right?
definitely feel like we're pushing ourselves a lot. Like there's certain things like Graves, like the amount of vocals that we've got over the amount of weird riffs that there are on that. It's like it's not something that I don't think you guys would really have thought to have done before.
It's tricky for me. It's totally not my kind of style playing wise.
It's tricky for me as well. Very, very tricky.
But like with Graves, like you wrote pretty much all of that, and that's very your kind of style. And then, but you kind of came up with the vocal patterns in that as well, didn't you?
Yeah, but just not with any intention of singing it and playing it. I think I was just throwing some ideas down because I liked it.
Well, that's the kind of problem with doing like because I think maybe the ones that we've started playing live, that first half of the album, you know, we had the lyrics in mind and we sort of worked on them. Whereas the new ones, we got really excited in the studio, and it's like, right, we've done all the guitars. We aren't holding our guitars now. We're just standing in front of a mic and we'll just bell it out. And then you try and do the same vocals with your guitar in your hand and play the riff, and you're like, whoa, this was a bad idea.
Well, I think that was the intention anyway. I think like when we did Ravenous, it was just sort of like, well, we need to kind of spend some time on the vocals to actually make them interesting. And if that means making it harder to sing and play, then that's just what's going to happen, really. So I think the album, I don't feel like we even went far enough with the time that we had, but probably thank fuck that we didn't, because how hard would it have been? But yeah, I think we just wanted to like actually make them songs instead of like...
You brought that in because you really like vocals. Like,
yeah, they're alright.
Like, I don't know. For Graves at least, there's vocals on everything. Like, from the moment the first verse starts, it's pretty much vocals the whole way, apart from that little bit where the riff plays in the middle. But that's literally it.
Yeah, I mean, it would be funny because it's like I would send you a riff and I'd be like, yeah, it's good, but I don't really know, like, because the riff wouldn't be that all that, and then you'd go over it and be like, well, when did you hear vocals in this part? I was like, well, from the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, when aren't there vocals? Well, there isn't. It's a song. There has to be vocals throughout the whole thing.
Yeah,
like,
that's just not how I'm wired at all.
Without the vocals.
Yeah.
That's just not the way that I'm wired at all.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, well, what's the bit where we're all just going to like jam about and headbang and have fun in that? And you're like, oh no, they're singing on this whole thing.
Yeah.
And I'm going, no, the whole thing, no.
There'd be
Good
like,
one.
yeah, there'd be a slight break where we can all kind of headbang a bit, maybe for like a couple of bars, and then straight back in with the vocals.
It's good though, because this whole album's made me really have to push my vocals and like kind of start actually getting good at them.
Yeah, but you've gotten so good though.
Yeah.
I'm certainly much better than I was.
Plus, we get to hear a lot more of Jack, and Jack is a monster.
We get to hear lots of vocals from
Monstrous.
everybody actually.
Yeah,
Except Liam.
Like, it's cool.
except Liam, but
Liam needs to shout more.
Liam is in the backing vocals. I don't know if you'll be able to actually decipher anything that he's done for them though, but he's there.
yeah, he is there.
He still belts it.
He
When he's
belts
playing.
when he
Just
really
shouts
belts
it
it
in the
whenever we do backing vocals though.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
whenever we do the gang vocals and stuff.
He gets all that pent up energy out.
He's
He
like,
scares me sometimes when we're doing gang vocals and that. He just kind of grab me and like scream at me, and I'm like, whoa.
it's like
Tucker.
yeah, you start worrying for him.
I think he jumped on my back during one of them as well, and I just totally fucking.
Caved
Liam's got
down.
into his head that,
I fell to the ground like, whoa, bro.
he's got into his
So
head that he hates
angry.
vocals and stuff, like doing them and stuff.
Yeah.
And then every time I've ever seen him do gang vocals with us, he gets totally in the zone.
I think the key is the gang vocals. I think he gets like, he doesn't want to do vocals on his own because he's like a bit self-conscious. But if every cunt's belting it, he's well up for getting right in there with the boys, you know. Like,
I really wonder what Liam's voice would sound like if we had him actually singing a section of the song.
I want him to
album.
do it so bad.
punk album.
Do you reckon he can?
He has to do all the vocals for his own tracks. So
Yeah, exactly. That's
we'll see.
the rules.
We shall see.
But do you reckon he could actually come up with something that was pretty shit hot?
Oh, it'd be great. It'd be fantastic.
Because he's got like a... his voice breaks quite easily. He's got quite a
Yeah.
like a soft voice.
Mm-hmm.
So every time we ever do gang vocals and you sort of catch what Liam's doing in your ear,
Yeah.
it's like he's just scratching his throat into a million bits.
Well,
And
that's
it's like-
basically just what.
It sounds actually quite cool.
Yeah, I mean that's basically all aggressive vocals really are. At least for me, anyway. It's basically just
Same.
getting the biting point between your voice distorting and breaking.
Mm.
Yeah,
getting
just
that
holding it there.
That
Like,
natural vocal fry.
He could do that kind of like emo style vocal quite well,
Yeah.
because he gets that emotional sounding voice break. You know,
'Cause
where it
it-
sounds like he's crying while he's doing it.
Yeah, because it's like I reckon the only way for him to actually be able to do it would be to just be like, ah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's if you're not really that if you're not really that good at vocals, or if you're like not really that confident in them, the only way you have to psych yourself up to do them, because
Mhm.
you can't just kind of go or like if you kind of go like, oh, sing now, it's like no, I'm not sure.
You never really hear him raise his voice though,
Yeah,
ever.
he's mellow.
He's a very chilled out, mellow guy.
But you know, he's hiding some aggression in there. We've seen it.
Even when he's in a bad mood, he's never one to start shouting or anything.
Yeah,
He's got like quite a cool, cold, collected kind of.
he's more like a head and hands kind of like when he's angry, I guess.
I love when Liam's upset. I know that sounds bad, right? But like,
Yeah, Liam's great when he's upset.
he
it's proper
does
passion.
get frustrated about stuff, and I love it. And I really sometimes go out of my way to make it happen.
I think I'm probably the worst guy to get upset.
I quite like it when you get upset as well, to be honest. Just because you wear your heart on your sleeve a bit. And it's
Yeah.
like I feel like for a short moment I'm like in a play or something. Someone's got to come on and act really fucking angry and upset.
Yeah.
Except it's like real life and it's you.
I hate
Yeah.
when
You've
I
got
get,
quite a theatrical.
You're
Anger.
like
I hate when I get
when we get
upset.
you angry, it's like
It's because like I realize that I'm overacting, so then I try and like be calm about it, but then you guys are like, like you know that I'm just right on the edge, and then I'm like trying so hard not to just be a dick.
There's this kind
Yeah.
of thing where
And
you're
it's
angry
already there.
where we can't take it seriously.
Mm.
So if you start getting energetic and start shouting, it's almost like when a dog starts scratching at a door, and you're just like, "Oh, you silly little
I know
dog."
that you're going to be like that, so I try to calm down and articulate, but then everyone's like, I see through you. I'm like, fuck no.
What I did notice throughout the process was though is that you can be right about a lot of things.
It's just when I say it, nobody wants to hear it because I'm an epic cunt.
Nah, it's not even that. It's kind of just like me and Liam say the same thing about your ideas, right? For every 100 you have, 10 of them are solid gold, like polished, perfect gold. But the other 90 are so dumb that
It's like the boy who
it's
cried
laughable.
wolf or something. Eh? Like,
yeah.
I come up with so many crap ideas that when I come up with a good idea, it's like, yeah, Jack. Like,
Yeah.
go back to what you're doing.
But it's like,
And then I cry a little bit.
and then the other thing you do is like you have your golden ideas and you hold them close to your chest, and then like you display them when to us it's too late.
Yeah, and
And it's like, well, I've always had this
invested in them.
idea in my head about this really amazing idea, like 10 seconds before you're meant to be recording it, and we're
Yeah.
like, but it's not like that. Like, why have you waited this long to tell us?
Yeah.
So then we get really annoyed that you've waited that long. Eventually, you end up doing it, and then in hindsight, we're like, oh well, Jack came up with actually a really cool idea there. That's the only reason it was annoying is because you waited until 10 seconds before you had to record it to do it. At which point we all went, well, it's too fucking late now. Why do you always do this? But in hindsight, a lot of the ideas are actually good.
Yeah, there was so much of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guitar recording was a mess.
Yeah.
We really thought we were on like a good, like similar page with everybody as well until
Yeah.
it went under the microscope and everything fell to shit.
Guitar
Say-
recording wasn't too bad. I think me and you were on quite a good page when we were recording guitars.
It
We
just
came
took
up-
so long.
Yeah, but that wasn't anything to do with the actual sessions we were having. That was like us both being busy in between them. Because when we actually got together,
Yeah.
we did smash it out quite quick, and we came up with some cool stuff as well. Like
Well,
that bit in.
Yeah.
When you accumulate all the time that you guys were in the room actually recording the guitars, how long do you reckon it took? Because I know you're only doing it sometimes once a week,
Probably
sometimes
could have
twice or
taken
third.
us a week. You probably could have got it all
Yeah.
done in a week.
Yeah, so like if you were free the whole week, that's how long it actually took.
Aye, but you cut out. Yeah, you cut out the doobie breaks, and then when we get back in and sit after a doobie for like an hour, and you're
you
like,
don't cut out the doobie breaks.
All right.
Because that's
All
when
right,
you
2 weeks.
that's
2
when you
weeks. Just for a week's worth of smoking a joint, then sitting for like half an hour, like
It was never
Give
really...
me a second.
Surely it wasn't half an hour.
Nah, probably not. We were like...
To be fair, all my memories of guitar recording, I remember you guys not recording and smoking.
Yeah. You literally forgot like a whole couple of sessions. You were like, I came around to yours, I did my rhythms for one of the songs, and you did your leads. Then I did my rhythms for another song, then you did your leads. Then you did some like harmonies for another song, and then the next session I came around and I'm like, oh, there's man, like fucking, can I hear that with the solos on it? And you were like totally stressed out, just like clearly like, shut up, I don't want to think about this right now. You're like, I've not done them yet, like I did it. And I'm like, you did them last week, man. You're like, no, I didn't, no. And literally up until the point where you pressed play, and it was just great seeing the actual look of shock on your face. You were like, did I do these?
It's like the first time you'd ever heard them. It's so weird. It's like, we were all worried about
that.
you.
Was a very dark period for me.
Yeah, I remember that. It's like, you were like, oh, I'm really stressed out. I've still got to do the fucking potato solo or the fucking...
Yeah.
It's like, mate, we've all heard that and it's brilliant.
And we were like, no, you've done them. And you were like, no.
Not only had I like done it, I'd uploaded it to Dropbox for you all to hear.
Yeah, we'd all been listening to it for the whole week. Like... analysing how good it was, and we were all going to come back to you and tell you it was great and to keep it, and then you're like, I haven't done it yet. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
The one you're listening to must just be a demo, I'm not actually going to keep that. No, you did it, bro. It was fire.
And I like how just like how much I refused to go back and listen to everything because I just hated every single part of it at that point. I just didn't want to listen to it. It's like
pardon me,
opening my laptop up and opening the sessions up, I'd just be like, no.
Shudder.
Feels like work.
No, I can't do this. And then I would do it and it'd be like, good, and then close the project file for like 2 weeks and never even open Reaper, let alone like for anything else. Just like, nope, can't do it. But not doing it.
It was a different process for you than it was to us because you were recording the thing, like not the drums, but everything else you were recording. So I think for the rest of us, it was easy for us to kind of switch off to that whole side of it because we weren't doing it. But for you, it must have kind of sucked having to be a composer, a recording artist, and the producer for a lot of it.
I think I just don't like recording guitars.
I
was recording guitars for a pal today, and I was just getting mad PTSD from like for the whole. It's just like, oh god, it's happening again.
I really hope this hasn't broken you.
I don't know, man. It's maybe just recording's not that great. I mean, I like it, but at the same time. God, it just takes a lot out of me, I think.
I mean, I like it.
Like when we're doing the album and stuff, like, and we can be pretty impatient, you know what I mean? It's like, all right, come on, like, and when you've got that pressure of being the one, we're like, Oliver, we want to listen to it now, and you've just sat for like hours, like recording it and redoing every little thing, because I'm sitting there like, no, I want to do that again, and then like an hour after I've left your house, I'm messaging you like, can I hear that now? Can you? And you're like, oh, like that must be.
So can I hear that now? It's just sort of like, what the fuck do you think you've been doing for the whole day?
Yeah, but I wasn't paying attention.
The thing is, like a lot of your history of recording is like recording yourself.
Yeah.
Where you can do everything at your own pace and your own way and stuff, and like to have us three being the guys to work with can't be that fun because we're like, I feel like we're a bit nippy in that kind of situation.
It was fucking horrid. It was absolutely abysmal.
Well, you're
waiting for the joke there, but it's not that.
That's it. No, it was genuinely just abysmal.
It was just genuinely crap. I mean, it's fine. I mean, it's like the sessions where it was like just me and Jack were fine.
Yeah, it was pretty casual.
They were absolutely fine. As soon as like,
it's when you bring more than one other person into the room, like. There's this. It's like an elephant in the room that's going to poke in another opinion to make things even more difficult.
Yeah, and it was just there was times where it couldn't be avoided, so it was just like none of us are really sure. I think when we were doing all the songs that you wrote, it was like, well, we kind of have to have Billy there, to kind of like make sure that we're doing it right.
I'm quite protective about my stuff as well.
Right.
So like whenever Jack would suggest a change to something, I'd be like, so it's not absolutely fucking perfect, right? Is that what you're trying to say to me? You fucking peasant.
Yeah.
But then, like, you have to kind of distance yourself from your own stuff.
I think for me, it was kind of like, oh, can we do that? And it's like, we had the whole demo process, bro. That's what all of that was for.
You guys did a lot of the demoing though, and I wouldn't be there. So that's why at that point I was like, oh, you know, I want to put this on. And it's like, oh, well, we already demoed it. And it's like, yeah, but I didn't have time to play about it. I hadn't even learned the song by that point, you know?
Yeah, true. I mean, the thing with the album and having all the songs that we kind of had like, have we got 8 songs kind of okay. Let's book drums. Whereas like because we'd already like spent so long on that part anyway.
There was
like,
so much more prep that we should have done before we actually started the process.
Yeah, like it wouldn't really have mattered. I think if we'd taken a lot of the time to really do some really, really solid prep, then the recording of the process could literally have taken maybe a week per instrument.
Yeah.
And it would have been fine. Whereas before, it's like we'd only prepped so much, so we were still working out a whole bunch of the kinks as we did it.
Well, that's it, yeah. And like
on borrowed time, really.
Yeah, like we did the demos and that, and they were like, right, that's sound. Liam can learn these, Liam can record these. And then it comes around to our actual parts, and it's like, oh, I don't have a lead. It comes around to like, we need to do vocals, and it's like, do we have any lyrics?
To this yet? Yeah.
Oh, no.
It was just you. I mean, you live and you learn, and but I felt like when we started, like when the drums started, I felt like we were in a much better place than we actually were in terms of preparation. And as we went through it, it was like, whoa, there's actually a lot of different stuff about the different songs that we haven't discussed yet, which we probably should have. I think we were just at that point, we were still like really energetic and keen to get the ball rolling on making the album, because it was like, holy shit, we've got these 8 songs that we think are really good, let's do it. But then by the end of it, it was like, oh fuck, these fucking songs, like, it definitely sucked the love out of it for us for a time. Like,
sucked a whole bunch of energy out of me.
Yeah.
2017 was just, 2018, sorry, was like, I don't think it was the healthiest year in the life of Disposable.
It was not a good year for even just Disposable, but for individual members of Disposable.
I think outside of the band as well.
It was really
it was a pretty weird, shitty year for everybody.
I think we were all really enjoying the album process, but then we were so stressed out by everything that was happening that actually getting together to do it, then you get there and you're like,
It was dark for me in the sense where like the album process was like the shining beacon in my life at the time, and then eventually that wasn't even the shining beacon anymore because it was a fucking nuisance.
Yeah, that was definitely.
So when it turned into quite a stressful ordeal towards the end, it was like, well, I don't even have the album to rely on anymore.
Yeah.
So hopefully this year, like the fact that coming out and sounding great is going to be like the reward that we deserve from making it.
Man, even then, like, I'm so glad I did all of that.
Yeah, I mean, all that being said, like, now that it's, like, not something we have to work on, and it's, like, putting up the event page today and, like, jamming through all the songs at home in order, but I'm excited about it, and I'm like, all that kind of negativity is just gone, like, now that we've let go of it.
At the end of the day, it's a body of work, and it's like, if it took that long to do the body of work, then so be it. And, like, the amount of work that we all had to put in to do it. And I suppose on a personal level, I'm looking at myself and kind of going, you did that.
Yeah.
Well done.
Well, that's what I really like about just being a musician in a band that's actually making stuff and releasing it. Because it's this thing that if it wasn't for the 4 of us being in this band, like, it just would not exist. And, like, we wrote it and then we made it and then we're going to release it.
Yeah.
And I really like that sort of, like, primitive way of putting it. It's just like, we made this thing and here it is.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. Just something that wouldn't exist without you. It gives you a sense of self-worth.
And it wouldn't exist without 4 individual guys. Like I'll do something and it sure, it wouldn't have existed without me. But like these songs would not be what they were today if it weren't for me, it weren't for Billy, weren't for Jack, and it weren't for Tucker.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's really exciting about this as well is like that's just not how we've worked in the past. Do you know what I mean? Like, with At the Fruit of the World, most of it was you, and you know a chunk of it was Andy, and me and Liam would kind of come in after and do little bits. And with Ravenous, most of it was you two, and Life Misguided again, you and Andy. Yeah. But with this, it feels like, I don't know, all of us have kind of like there's Oller's tracks and there's Billy tracks, and then there's all of us have like put bits on it, and like even like Tucker and stuff, like coming up with some really fire ideas for riffs or whatever, like in Swarm. Tucker's put a really cool little spin on a whole bunch of stuff. But like I think before he would always do that with drums, but like now he's kind of come out and you'll do it with other sections. That is like, you should do that. And you're kind of like, you're the drummer. What do you know about the guitar? He's not actually able to do that because it's like the way that will work now. Probably not. We probably didn't do it as much as we probably should have in the album because we didn't have that much time. Is that all 4 of us would be in a room with a laptop. Kind of, and then going over the demo. And maybe we'd get it up to a certain point because we definitely did that with I mean this was fucking years ago now. We did it with Ravenous and we did it with Arrive Alive Leave Dead, and then it just kind of
it just got harder and harder to get all four of us together.
Yeah.
Well, I think the main difficulty we had with the album process and doing it from home and stuff was just how difficult it was for all four of us to be free all day on a specific day. Like, there would be weeks where no day of the week worked for everybody.
Yeah.
So one week you've got 4 people in the room, and then the next week for the 2 sessions you've only got 2 people, and then sometimes it's a different 2 people or 3 people, and it's kind of like, well, we've got to keep going. But most of the time there wasn't everybody there. Yeah. So you'd be doing the whole session and you'd still be going, well, we've still got to run that by such and such to make sure that's okay.
And then it got to the point where every single time we would have all of us in, it would almost be like such a backward step, because one person would be like, well, I didn't agree in this, or I didn't like that.
Yeah,
the other person would be like, if you fucking change that bit, I'm out of the band. Yeah. That kind of thing.
And then it's like, okay, we've got to come up with a compromise right here, right now.
That was actually my favourite thing about the process, is just how protective certain people,
how many times
mainly me,
was like, if you do that, I'm out of the band. And then everyone's like,
I'm literally leaving the band if you change 3 notes of that riff. I'm fucking leaving.
If you put a harmony on that track,
and it was always like, that was always the top of the mountain. It would start with like, oh, well, he can play that if it's going to be that way, and I'm not going to play that. Or he can sing that if he's not going to play it. Oh, well, if he's not going to play it, then I don't even want it in the song at all. And it's like, well, if you don't want it in the fucking song at all, then I'm leaving the band. And like, within the space of 10 seconds, the whole band's just like decided that we're going to quit, and that's it.
Oh man, I went from like really looking forward to a whole bro sesh to then being like, all right, who's
still in the band?
Who's still in the band? Or even just being like, who have I got coming to my house today? Everyone.
Oh shit.
When are they going to get out of my house?
Well, yeah, so then you would think it would be better if all 4 people were in the room at all times, but those were probably the times when we were at our worst.
Yeah, totally.
It's just like fucking rats in a cage.
Leaving my house and no words are said.
Yeah, that's like walking to the door and just like looking at you.
You just like, you'd be in an argument with one person and then you'd hear the door slam in the background. You'd be like, oh, is that other cunt left? Like, fucking hell, everyone's just storming out. My other favourite thing about the process was, well, like, if it came down to one bit in a specific song, it would be like, well, I'm not paying to mix that song.
Yeah.
That was my favourite. So
you
it's
took
like
that card all the time. I think
it was a great card to pull out of the deck. And it's like, well, if you want Faceless to be like that, then that's fine. But I'm not putting any money into mixing that because I don't like the song that way. So we take whatever the cost is of mixing all the songs, we'll divide that by 8 to get how much each individual song is. Then we'll divide that by 4 to get how much each member has to pay to mix that one song. And I'm not fucking paying that much. And it would just be like, oh, I'm not mixing that song. Like, I'm not paying for that song to be like that because I don't like that song.
Remember that you fucking, you threw that at me so often. I remember like one time vocal session did it. It's like, I think it was like a certain wasn't to your fucking liking. Yeah. So then it was just like, I really like that. And it's like, if you don't let me do that again, I'm not paying for mastering. I actually just screamed in agitation, like a full blown just like.
Can you let me record that again, or I'm not paying to mix the album?
Yeah, and just like a proper minute long, just like outburst of and then like
the amount of discussion over like as and us, like when Riff kicks in and you go, oh.
No, that wasn't good enough. Like
I must have done like 20 of them for every single one.
Yeah,
and they all sounded the same. And you'd be looking at them under a microscope, and then always you'd go, I think the first one was actually probably the best one.
No, but you say that, right? And then you kind of sit and think like, oh man, like you're being way too critical of that. Like there, But in hindsight, when I'm listening back to it and I hear you like with the specific like or something, I'm like, that's the one. And I'm glad you did it 300 times before we found that one, because
those ones are different though, because it's like, it's not like if it's just a bit in a verse and it's just getting like lost, almost kind of like saturated in the soup of the whole kind of arrangement. There's like bits where it's like and then it's like it goes the bit. Those are the bits that people will like those stick with people.
Yeah,
it's like fucking arf from fucking what's
Knock Loose.
Yeah, Knock Loose. It's just sort of like that's the only reason I like them now.
Yeah, the silly little noises are the best bits.
Yeah, there's a few good ones on the album as well, and
there's a lot. I'm really happy.
Not a lot of like. Some of them are my favourite vocals in the album. Is just like a little like I like in the Arrive Alive Leave Dead when you got the groovy riff kicks in, and it's kind of a bit of a central like.
Everyone thinks it's like sounds like Rage Against the Machine when you play it. It's like, is that literally just because Billy goes over the top?
Well, I wanted to do Rage. I remember like when we were recording the vocals to Arrive Alive Leave Dead, it was just after we'd done the little 4-day tour with Killjoy.
Yeah.
So my voice was a little bit like, it wasn't bad, like I could still record, but it was like, ideally I'm going to work things in here that for some reason we had booked a recording session like the day after that tour finished.
Yeah.
And for some reason I was like, oh, it's fine, my voice will be absolutely perfect for that, trust me.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait a second, I've just done 4 nights of gigs back to back. Like, my voice is like a little bit like red raw at the moment, and it was fine, we still done it, it sounds great. But I was like, right, I'm just gonna lay back on this here and try something else. And I was like, I'll try the Rage Against the Machine, like, and it was like, that actually sounded really cool.
I think that's the one.
And then we kept it, and it was just like, that was great, and it just worked out, because I would never have tried something like that if my voice was in like 100% working order.
Yeah.
Was that the session with the Killjoy boys?
I don't think we did any recording for the actual album apart from recording
little
with the
intro.
Killjoy Boys for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's supposed to have been a couple of days after that
Yeah,
session.
because when I was at that, I guess it was the Arrive Alive Leave Dead session that we were doing. And that was like several days after the 4 days of playing.
Yeah.
My voice was fucking gone, And I was trying to I was trying my hardest. And I think, no, it can't be. I think we were doing Graves, maybe. And you guys were like, just fucking go for it. And I had to like halfway through, I was like, nah, I can't do anything more.
Yeah, I remember that,
like,
yeah.
It felt like something like physically broke in my throat. Like, it was weird. And every time I'd shout after that, it felt like,
I think
damaged.
I think that was a session when Oliver punched himself in the head.
Yeah, because you lost...
I lost your amp part.
For Graves.
For Graves,
Yeah,
yeah.
Totally.
Because I opened it up and went, why does the right guitar volume... Why is the right guitar volume really low?
That
was almost as if something's missing. Oh, something's missing.
The whole track's missing, yeah.
Where's that gone? How long has that been missing for? Will I be able to find it?
Pretty terrifying, man, when you punched yourself in the head. Like, that was... I feel like that was maybe like a really, like, you know, everything... We were talking about how, like, all these points when we got, like, stressed and, like, fucking...
Yeah.
I feel like that was, like, a point where then after that it was, like... That was the low point.
That was the turning point, yeah.
Because we were all having a shit day that day, and then, I didn't know people could punch them. You know, like, you think that you've got some sort of, like, mechanism that stops you. You know when you try and punch yourself, and you just don't quite follow through with it. And I was like, he's not going to follow that. And, dude, you, like, I would have been scared to receive those punches to my face.
It's different, though, because it's like, if it's the forehead, right?
Right.
Your forehead's basically just, like, bone, isn't it?
That's where you'd want to punch yourself on the head.
Well, exactly.
But
if you had to punch yourself in the head.
I mean, Jack's giving it a go.
it was sore. I don't want to do that.
Thing is, though, if you do it enough, it becomes numb. It's like, honestly, like...
Have you done this before?
5 times.
But the thing was, like, it was just not something bad enough to actually merit you doing that.
Yeah.
It was just like the heat of the moment, and like the vibes were kind of, I don't know, we were unprepared for that session anyway. So it was kind of like we were all a bit anxious because it was like we're rocking up to this vocal session and no one really knows what the fuck they're doing on this song yet. And then before we could record any vocals, we had established that we needed to find out what had happened with this thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, eventually it turned out okay. But at the time, it was kind of just like, well, we really didn't fucking need this today of all days.
I remember that. I was like at that sort of stage, I was having a really crap time, and every time I was coming to recording sessions, that I just sort of mope into the room. So we did like the vocals at Banana Row, and I'd come into the practice room, and I'd come and have a wee look, and if it looked like you were recording, I'd wait until someone stopped and turned around or whatever. And I was usually moping into the room. Everyone's like, "All right, Jack, how's it going?" I'm like, "Yeah." And that day I was just in a brilliant mood, and I came stoating in, and I went to like shove the door open, and I'm like, "What's happening?" And Liam just looks at me and shakes his head, and he's like, "Not now."
Were you there when Oliver punched himself in the head?
Yeah, it was a couple of minutes after I got there. I think you were explaining to me what had happened. Then, as you explained it in detail, you got more and more angry, and then you were like, "Oh, bam, 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 bam."
It was definitely like what
a low point that was.
Yeah,
man.
like the feather that broke the camel's back for me.
You found them during that 2-hour practice, that vocal session, though, didn't you?
Not during. I found them. I went home and after, and then found them.
Where were they? Behind the couch.
So what?
Down the back of the couch.
just in my pocket. My other jeans.
It's not a pocket I'd
My other
normally
jeans
put
that I then
tracks
threw in the bin.
Where was the bifter in Ireland?
Oh yeah, we were just talking about this. Like, yeah, man, that time you rolled a big bifter in Ireland,
and then I
went to the toilet,
panicking,
and then came out without your bifter.
Sorry, that was the worst segue.
Literally was just like,
I I was about to go into some proper emotional chat there, and you're like, "Where's the bifter?"
Where's the fucking bifter in Ireland, man? The mysterious bifter.
Oh, that was so annoying. Because it was like...
But up until like today, I didn't realise that you'd found it.
Oh,
again.
yeah. You and me smoked that bifter.
I thought you rolled another one.
No, man. That was my last bifter. That's why I was freaking out so much.
I was I was just so impressed with how willing you were to roll another one, and how quickly you rolled another one.
Never, man. Never leave a bifter
just sort of
behind.
well, this boy really likes marijuana. Because he's just...
No, it was like...
Oh, man.
I was like... We had this nice
that
little...
makes a lot more sense.
We had this nice little, like a hotel. It wasn't like a hotel. It was like a bed and breakfast.
It was a really nice kind of.
That was so good.
It was really chill. It had
that was fucking
big
luxury,
couches,
man.
And it had it was really long, like from the front door to the back door, and there was this little back area, and there was like a couple of toilets. There was one way at the back, and I think we got back from we just arrived and sort of put down all our gear, got comfy, and I was bursting on a shit. I just rolled a doobie, went for a shit, fucking. Put the doobie down to keep it safe, on the radiator, and then got up and went to smoke the doobie with Oliver. And I'm literally pulling this place apart, looking behind couches, underneath amps, under beds and shit, freaking out for half an hour.
We thought eventually that you'd flushed it down the toilet.
Yeah. So, what were you doing when you last had the doobie? It was I was having a shit. And it's well, that is gone.
When was the last time you seen it? I was wiping my ass.
Because I thought you'd put it behind your ear.
So did I. But
and
I
then
just
you'd
put
it
on the radiator because I was I'm scared this is just going to fall. I was sitting on the toilet, it's just going to fall down into the but yeah, and then we found it. We smoked it, and then the women upstairs went mental at us for being too loud, even though we weren't even being loud. We were being quiet, having a laugh.
It was one of those ones where we probably think we weren't being that loud.
Quite loud, especially at that time of night.
That was definitely not before the gig.
It must have been at when
because
we got
it was
home from
proper
the gig.
night time.
Yeah.
It was late as. She was well upset, and I'm pretty sure we just done nothing. We just kind of looked up and went, oh yeah, okay.
No, everyone kind of slowly moved back into the flat.
Okay.
Tucker was like, well, I'm going inside, quieter than before. And then you were like, yeah, it's cold, I'm going inside. And then me were still smoking that.
That was fucking class.
Well, we don't have any choice but to sit outside. So then we
Continue
just whispered to each other afterwards.
Who was?
Hey man, it's so good I'm in the band now. Oh yeah.
Because that was your first ever gigs, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that actually the first ever gig.
That was the first ever gig I played with you guys, and it was in Ireland.
That's ridiculous.
That was class. What a fun! That was an amazing trip. I have that it went generally so smoothly, apart from that little blip where we weren't sure what your guitar was up to. Remember,
my guitar. We got there and sound check was happening, and then I plugged my guitar in, and it was like, there's no sound coming out of this guitar. Oh no, I'm in Ireland. Fuck.
And you were already kind of nervous because it was first show or whatever. But then after that,
Ireland,
see, at that point, what did we play? We played Ravenous there because we just released Ravenous. Did we play Arrive Alive Leave Dead?
We did, yeah.
That's old.
Yeah,
we've been playing that since the first time you ever played with us.
We've been playing
that with a lot of the kind of the
that's
older
April
ones.
2017.
Because we'd then be we'd need songs to play because I just didn't really have time to learn the old stuff.
Yeah.
So we were just I've written this one, and it's everyone else would learn it really easily. So then we just throw it in a set, and then you just do whatever vocals that you would really be arsed with doing.
Yeah. So I literally made up the lyrics to that for about a year and a half.
But that's just
that's where the name for it came from, Ireland as well. Driving along, and we seen this sign that said "Arrive Alive," and I just went "Leave Dead," and everyone started pissing ourselves, and we're like, "That's what the song should be called, as a joke." And for ages, we're like, "That's what the song should be called, as a joke." And then it's
Liam was so disgusted with himself for coming up.
Oh no, because it was Liam that said it, wasn't it? Yeah. He shouted out, and we were all like, "That's fucking brilliant!" And then we're like, "Let's call the song that," and he's like, "I wish I'd never pointed out that sign."
Yeah.
I just think "Arrive Alive" is a great sign.
It's a better song title.
Yeah, it's a little bit threatening the way it's "Arrive Alive." It's it's a bit demanding. What if I don't want to arrive?
It's
alive?
Not a huge demand to get to your destination alive.
Why do you need to be told to arrive alive? Surely you're planning on arriving alive anyway.
You better be fucking arriving alive, boys, or I'll be cross.
It's when someone tells you to do something you were going to do anyway, and then you're like, you know what, fucking, I'm not going to do that.
Fuck you, man.
You told me to.
Clearly going to do that anyway.
But now that you've said it, I'm going to arrive dead.
I'm clearly going to fucking leave this house dead in a body bag.
I like how somehow along the way we managed to write lyrics that actually had some kind of meaning to that phrase.
I only remember my verse
because usually
and
it's
that's a miracle in itself.
the way we work is like we do the lyrics and then from the lyrics we pluck out a song title.
Yeah.
So we'd never really had a song title with no lyrics before.
Mm-hmm.
That was like what we were actually intending on calling the song.
Yeah.
I think though it wasn't what we weren't really going to call it that. It was just so we stopped calling it Potato. And then we were like, I think thinking about the phrase "arrive alive, leave dead," you're like, okay, well it's a clear, obvious opposite of what the sign said. And then you're like, yeah, but that could be applied to life in so many ways. And then you start thinking about it, you're like, that's quite a gnarly phrase. I mean, everyone just arrives alive and leaves dead, if you know.
And the more we're talking about this, the more angry Tucker's getting.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Yeah, the moment we started actually putting a proper meaning to it and getting excited about it as a song, Liam's just like, what have I done?
Yeah.
What have I done?
There's quite a lot of like silly things like that nobody really agreed with. That's the only one I can really remember because I was not really. I was kind of the outside looking in, and also it was funny. The other ones that I probably had with other people, I'd probably just suppressed from my memory.
I feel like I've suppressed a wee bit from my memory, but not loads.
Yeah.
You wanted Thrash Fuck at the beginning.
Anthropocide.
Yeah, you wanted Anthropocide at the beginning of the album, and we all slammed you down saying that was an incredible.
Originally, you were like, "That's a good idea," and then I said it to
he was
you
just
first.
telling you that. Promise.
I said it to you first, and you were like, "Yeah, that could be quite cool." And then I was like, "Right, sweet, awesome, I've got Oliver on board." And then I went away to the boys, and I was like, "Me and Oliver are well on board for this." And then the next time I was with all of you, and I said that again, and you were like, "Nah."
Oliver had probably talked to me and Liam in between these two meetings, and me and Liam have said, "Ollie, no,
come to your senses."
I never really was that game because it's like everyone was like, well, we need like an album opener, and as soon as you sent us list, I was like, well, that's the album opener. That's that done and ticked off the list. And then a couple of weeks down the line, nobody was like that game, and I was like, oh right, we're going backwards here.
Do you know? I
always
didn't want it. There was a point where everyone was like, "Meh, I don't know about that" as the album opener, and we had a big argument about it before we all kind of realised, wait, went right the way back round.
I don't think I was ever against Swarm being the first song.
At one point, I think everyone but Liam was like, yeah, let's try something different.
No. Yeah. What other song would I have ever suggested goes first? I never was on board with that.
He never suggested that.
I don't know if you actually suggested anything, but I remember...
No, I'm pretty sure I was always Team Swarm. I'm pretty fucking certain I was always Team Swarm.
I mean, I think... I can't remember who strongly felt for having Swarm at the beginning of the album. That wasn't me. I'm pretty sure it was me and Tucker, and you were like on the fence, and you were like Anthropocide or die.
I think I was.
And we were like, well, then go die because you're wrong.
I think I was willing to compromise.
Yeah, I think
because it was like you two were at war over it.
Yeah, but then I think it was like you were willing to compromise, and then we explored every other option, and we were like, nah.
Yeah.
And then we were like, wait, what about Swarm? As if it was a new idea, and it was like, oh yeah, that's brilliant. Cool,
I think I definitely looked at you all going, you're all idiots.
I remember you being really angry.
I remember trying to name Swarm.
Yeah.
God.
Remember the process of trying to name that song?
Me and you fucking sitting and like, mate, I was literally just looking at lyrics and going through like fucking thesauruses and shit, like fucking. So like I must have sent you hundreds of suggestions. You must have sent me hundreds of suggestions, and we were all like, I'd be like, this is great, and you'd be like, crap, and then you'd be like, this is great, and I'd be like, crap, and then we eventually like, what, Swarm's in the outro bit, eh? We were like, it's not one of these lyrics. We've got to come up with an original word. So just fired like meaningless random words at each other for like 2 weeks.
There was a little phrase with like all our chats on Facebook were basically us just sending 20 words to each other at a time, just plucked from the thesaurus.
Yeah.
And every single time it'd be like, hate them all. I hate them all.
Hate
them all.
My pal Mark, one of his pals at work the other day was trying to find, I can't remember what word it was, but he was trying to find a word for another word, eh? Mm. So like he's looking and he's like, oh, there's a word for it, and he's looking, so he types the word in, like, you know, to Google. With, like, you know, is it an antonym or synonym? Whatever the same words that mean the same things.
A synonym, I think.
Synonym, yeah. So he's like looking through the synonyms and that, and you know, he's apparently not that bright, and he turns to Mark and he's like, I've got it, thesaurus. And he's like, what? And he's like, thesaurus, it's coming up on all of them. It's just like, Mark's like, oh no.
As in the word thesaurus.
Thesaurus,
oh
yeah. It was like the way he said
God.
it as well, and that he was like, oh, that's got to be the one. It's showing up on all of the results. Like, thesaurus.
Thesaurus, man. That's incredible.
I think having a list called Swarm was probably one of the few decisions that were made that I'm still not happy with. there's probably everyone has at least 3 or 4 each that are like oh well.
I think at this point I'm happy with everything just because it's done.
Yeah.
I think that's all I truly wanted was just to know and for it to be done.
Yeah.
Although I definitely got to the point where, there was definitely so many times where we went, all of us saw the red mist, and at least 1 or 2 of us came out with a little bit burnt.
Oh yeah.
But
there's only really one burn for me that I was a bit like meh about, but I feel like it's been.
Is that the Arrival I Leave Dead intro?
Yes, it is.
Oh, yeah. I remember that one.
I was really upset by that.
You were really sad about that one.
I was really sad about that one. But not like, I like it how it is now in that, but I really like the other version that we had. And I thought that it was like a similar wavelength we were all on, and then it came down to the crunch, and it was like, I think it was just like everyone was done with it, so they were like, let's just pick one and get on with it. Like, you weren't fussed either way.
I was the one that had to pull the trigger.
Yeah, well, you were the one that had to take your back and shoot you in the head. 2 versus 1, and it was your choice, and you were like, I'm going to go with the 2 because it gets the decision done.
And I'll be honest, I still prefer the other one.
Yeah.
I still prefer the other one.
That's why I was so upset about it, because I knew you preferred the other one, but I was like, you've done this for the sake of moving on, and I respect you for that. But see, the thing is, that's one thing that still burns me. Yeah. But that's one thing that still burns me, but at the same time, I can get past it because the song is called Arrival I Leave Dead, and Liam was so burned by that.
There was a lot of things about that song.
I was like, right, okay, mate, like I know how much that upset him, and he didn't even get a chance to like put it to a vote and accept it. He just got told that is happening, man. And like come up with, I think we were like, come up with a solution, like an alternative, or that's happening.
Yeah, and he
just didn't come up with anything. So yeah, and like, it must be confusing for anybody listening because we keep jumping between like what we called them while we were writing them and what we call them now, and you will see them as on the album. But like Liam's list or Swarm is all because of Liam and his list that he actually didn't write. So basically,
God, the more we tap into this stuff, the more we've got a little stupid backstory for literally every single aspect.
Billy wrote this song, and he was like, "Bam, here's a song." It was like angry something at some point because you were angry about something. One of the first demos.
No, it was the first demo was always Liam's list.
It was because of chalky milk.
It was chalky milk.
Right,
Yeah, you've got to go back. Go back the way and start.
Billy wrote this fucking banger called Chalky Milk, and it was like 7 minutes long, and it was like, right, that's definitely going on the album, like. And then Liam was like, it's too long. And he wouldn't say what else he didn't like about it. He was like, it's just too long. So then Billy wrote like a 10-minute version with like a 3-minute sample at the start and like a 2-minute clean outro.
Just to piss him off, really.
Yeah, and it was even better. And then Liam was like, nah, I don't like it. And then we tried doing all sorts of condensed versions and this and that. And me and William were really like personally grieved by this. So we were like, right, Liam, write a list of everything you don't like about it so that we can...
Yeah, then like write the radio edit version.
And then like, he's online and he's like responding to other messages, and then we're like, where's this list? And he just like
always bumping the list, man.
And we'd post on his wall and that, like, where's this list? Can we see this list? We post in the Disposable page, the wee group that we've got for ideas and stuff. And he'd just patch it, seen by Liam Tucker.
Liam Tucker.
We got so angry. It just became this meme where it was like, fucking, well, write me a fucking list, Liam. Like,
where's Liam's list?
The first version of Swarm, it was called Liam's List. And then Billy had just like done where the vocals should be, but it was basically just him not even screaming about, but like with a little like fucking wee like live headset mic in your bedroom at like 11 in the morning, and like sort of whisper shouting like, write me a fucking list. And like, I just want this fucking list. And then
Liam's List.
And then it was Liam's List, and then it just became lit.
Write that shit.
Yeah. Fucking hell, that's old, that.
And then
we still got numbers on a list in the actual lyrics as well.
Yeah.
So there's a little hint of it still there.
Yeah. And then Liam actually
no idea what it means in the context of the song now, but it doesn't matter. It's
number on a list. I mean, we made it mean something that was actually like relevant to what we then wanted the song to be about. But that's not where it came from. And then fucking Liam wrote the best riff in it. Like,
he did write the best riff.
I just remember
he was like, oh yeah, fucking, I like that riff, but it just needs to be a bit crazier. And Billy's like, well, I don't know what you mean by that, record what you want. And I think he went away and recorded it, but he didn't, he doesn't play like thrash guitar like as his main thing. So I think it was a little bit kind of cut together. So he'd like record like da da da, and then like add the next bit on
totally
and cut and paste and and then Billy went home, redid it properly,
like
and it was like,
learned it.
Here, that's the best riff on this fucking song. Like, well done, Liam. Like, still not forgiving you for Chalky Milk, but
Chalky Milk was fucking absurdly good, and Liam didn't like it.
Stop saying was. It's not past tense.
Chalky
Milk is still alive and well, and will serve this.
One day.
It's gaining strength.
It is. It's got this little underground army that's
absorbing ultimate power.
Liam's gonna rue the day because he's laid it to rest for this process. But next time it's going to come back bigger and stronger.
I've got big plans for Chalky Milk.
And we're all 3 minutes long.
Honestly, mate, like, I'm not lying when I say I want to release a standalone single
of Chalky Milk. Yeah.
And then we'll have the condensed version of Chalky Milk under an actual title on the next album.
I like that.
I know you like it because I've told you it 3 times before and you've said you've liked it. I like it. What was another thing? I think probably one of the first decisions that you got burnt on was on one of the list demos. You had a stupid fucking bass solo.
Oh yeah, fuck, sorry.
A stupid like bass tap solo.
There was like a gap. I think now it just goes ran to get down to get down to go 1, 2, 3, 4. But in that 4-beat gap, it was like a
where it goes
on that like high octave of the bass.
Yeah.
And I loved it so much, and then it got cut out of the demos, and I was like, yeah, but when we get round to the album, it's coming back, right? And Billy's like, eh. And then I got round to actually recording the bass, and I got fucking mad, because everyone was like, that's stupid. And then we actually recorded it, and it was stupid, but I fought for it anyway, because I was like, I had like tears in my eyes.
Did you just say it was stupid?
I mean, I liked it, and there's nothing wrong with stupid, but yeah, it was stupid.
Wow. We've really made a lot of progress over the last year, haven't we, Christ?
I wrote it as a joke.
Yeah.
And then Jack loved it. And it was literally just like, it was literally designed so that when I sent it to the boys, you would all piss yourselves when you heard it. And then you and Liam pissed yourselves and said that was hilarious. And Jack was like, hey bro, your bass solo was fucking sick. And I was just like, oh no, he likes it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're like, oh, is it going to be in the album? And we don't really have the heart to... Well, it's not even like, oh, is he being serious?
I think everyone thought I was joking, eh?
It was like, yeah, Jack, it's going to be on the album.
And I'm like, sweet
I'm sure that you must know at that point, everyone's like, kind of like, oh yeah, sure, it's like, they're being sarcastic.
I don't always get sarcasm, man. I was like, yes, the boys are on board. Nah, the boys were not on board.
Oh, we had to fucking do it and be like, well, there you go. It's dumb, and you're going like, nah, maybe try it another way, and it's like, I guarantee you it will still be dumb as fuck, and then you did it again.
To be honest,
it's like,
I think what you tried when we recorded the album, but when it was on your demo, it did sound pretty cool. I don't know what it was. It sounded cool.
I have no idea what I'd done. I literally just pushed record and it's a wee tappy thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it was what it was. It was never going to be on the album, though.
It was rubbish.
It was just, it was a joke.
Fucking rubbish.
I'm trying to think about things that...
I'm upset.
Another thing that...
Good, because it was rubbish. You need to know that it was so...
I don't think there was anything on it that I got, like, specifically me only, that got really upset about it.
Nah, probably because you probably were on the winning side for a lot of it.
I usually am, I'm afraid to say.
Sorry, I can't stop eating your...
That's fine, just keep eating them, your chickpea noodles.
Pass me some, because I'm like
You
stuck
can
in the
finish them,
corner.
because that's all that's left.
Wow, thanks.
I like to call it Billy's reign of terror.
noodles?
No. The fact that I'm always ending up on the winning side in band decisions.
It's because you're the big daddy of the band.
I'm not the big daddy of the band.
You're fucking Thrash Father Billy, is what you are.
Thrash Father Billy.
Thrashman Willie is Bailey called.
I can understand why you don't see yourself as the big daddy of the band. And I'm not saying that you have any more say or like control over it, but you're the big daddy of the band, big daddy.
There's probably because every single time...
I believe that the reason I'm on the winning side on most decisions is because I'm right about more things.
It's mostly because you then refuse to pick your side of mixing and mastering.
In fact, yeah, it's probably
when
because
all the rest of us are fucking skins. We don't really have a choice.
I'm too stubborn to actually change my view. I reckon there was very little that I was in favour of that I allowed to be changed.
Yeah.
That's Billy's reign of terror.
I think as well when you say like change your view or whatever, like I think a lot of the times my view would be an extension of your vision. Do you know what I mean? So you'd write the thing, then I'd have an idea based on the thing you wrote, but then it's like you created the thing to begin with, so you've kind of got the power to be like, well, no, it's not meant to be like that. Whereas I'm just saying,
yeah, because I would always say stuff to you like, well, you're totally just you've
stolen my riff and
misconceived that entire section.
You didn't get what I was meaning.
Yeah.
I feel like with
This is a simple case of you misunderstanding my work.
How dare you misconstrue my art?
Yeah.
But like I think
It was not up for interpretation. This is the way it is.
I think like with me and Billy, because we like demoed most of it, we'd kind of ironed a lot of our kinks out at the very beginning.
Yeah, so me and you went into the actual finalised album process
Yeah.
on a fairly similar wavelength on most stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of liked about some of the guitar stuff, though, because I think it was where I was trying to alter your parts quite ridiculously. It would be like, nah. Or, if I was sticking a wee harmony on it, it would be like, But then when we actually did it, it was cool. But then there was a few bits with me and you where it's like, okay, you and Liam had really, like, you guys started doing practices together just to work on, like, the bass and the drums really locking in with each other. And, I think a lot of the time in the past, like, you write riffs on the bass to be very similar to the riffs on the guitar.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, this time, sometimes you do a completely different thing so that you're fitting with Liam going...
Well, that was mainly Liam's doing. Liam approached me and said, we should get some practices just drum and bass. Like, this is just before he was going in to record his stuff. Just so that I'm doing certain fills or, like, certain accents on the kick drum that's going to match what you do. And I'm like, well, I don't really do anything. I just kind of, like, play what the guitars are playing.
Yeah.
And if it's too fast, I cut down the amount of fucking notes I do. But there was nothing that I had in mind really that was going to be like these drum and bass accents. And he's like, oh, well, I kind of wanted to do this and just hit the kick drum a bit harder here if you want to go harder, then, So, like, he was very aware of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, for a bass player, I'm fairly ignorant as to, like, how the bass should
really
work.
work, yeah.
See, I lock in much more with the guitars.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, what am I going to do on the bass with the guitars?
Funnily, I actually play a lot more like a bass player. I've noticed a lot.
Do you want to swap roles?
I wouldn't mind. I'll be vocalist and bassist. Anyway.
Imagine that.
I would actually quite like that.
That'd be sick.
Having to not do all the vocals live would be great.
I'd like to be able to just not play guitar. To be honest, it's the worst instrument. But I've noticed, like, I've not been locking in with Tucker nearly as much. Not even, like, wanting to be a bass player, but just as a band member. I feel like we all do a fairly good job without trying, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, if I'm aware of it, and I'm like, God, like, I'm just not even with his kicks, I'm just kind of like, now when we kind of practice and when we play live now, there's certain bits where we kind of have to, whereas before we would just headbang and be like, yeah, lol, this is great. I would actually go up to him and be like, what, am I actually tight with you? Am I locking in with you now? And it's like, I like just going up to the drummer. Any band I'm in, I'll go up to the drummer and just try and lock in just because it's fun.
Yeah.
And it sounds a lot better and it feels better. Whereas like with Disposable, it was like, it got to, God, what the fuck are the parts, to then, hey, let's have fun.
Yeah.
And then I kind of skipped the let's get tight bit.
I think though, like, me and you, like, are pretty tight with what we're playing on the album. Where, like, I'm like, I think the way that you play, you write things, you just shit out riffs like nothing, man. You're just like bam, bam, bam. You're like, I come in and you're like, check this out, play, and it's like, whoa, blown away. This is an absolute bang, and you're like, yeah, I just wrote that 5 minutes ago, and you're like, what? Like, fuck.
Not that much of an arse.
Yeah. This one took me like 3 minutes to write, bro. So.
With me, like, when I'm not that I write a lot of stuff, but when I'm writing or when I'm playing stuff, I get really hung up on like I'm doing this little bit this way, and on like the third repeat of this bit, I do this slightly differently, and then you're like, yeah, but that doesn't. It's not why I'm doing it. Doesn't work. And I'm like, well, do that because that's what I'm doing. Like, fuck, it was. I've been quite bad for that in the past, but I think
I totally relate to that mindset. And it's like when I'm by myself and I'm doing like riffs, and just to make it interesting for me, I'd be like, oh, I did this bit there. Oh well.
Well, I think like when we got round to recording the guitars, like there was a few of those bits where I was kind of like, oh no, I'm gonna clash with others on this. But then like the bit in
I like to think I was fairly accommodating, just
you were,
just for the fact that you weren't there for a lot of the demo process, and I knew you were gonna want to add your own flair.
I think
which is like completely why would you not? You're the other fucking guitar player.
I think even just like other bits though, like with like in the little Suffocator, and there's nothing big in
Le Suffocator. Yes.
That's the song on the album, by the way. The album Suffocator is coming out April 20th, by the way. But and it was like that bit where, you know, on the third time round and we did an extra triplet, and I was like, we should try this, and I was like, I'm ready for you to be like, that's not how it goes, and you were like, yeah, let's give that a try then. I'll re-record my part for that, and we did it, and we both just sat there after a doobie and like very baked, and just looked at each other like red-eyed to fuck. Like, say, yeah, bro, that's fucking gnarly.
Let's hear it again.
Just keep playing that.
Oh, yeah.
So let's hear it from the start of that riff again, with all the repeats and that. Like, yeah, but can we hear it from the start of the song? Like,
God,
yeah.
I forget how many like sessions there were of just you two. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall at them, because
I was gnarly.
You really would not.
I mean, yeah, it probably would have been funny, but not very interesting, because a lot of it was just us sitting there, like, not talking much, very baked, playing the guitar. You like, are you ready to do this? Yeah, I'm like,
to be fair, I feel like that's when you done a lot of
Give
your
me five.
best, like, actual productive stuff. Like, yeah, you probably were getting mega baked together, but when it was only two of you, that seemed to be like when you would actually
There was one
get through
section
stuff.
where neither of us were baked, and it was just a train wreck.
yeah, we were like, I think we were like, let's not get baked so that we can focus.
I think you were ill and you didn't have any weed on you.
Yeah,
and I didn't have any
yeah,
either.
But I
Before
think
you
we
try
said
and say
something
that
about it, like where we were like, oh well, we're not going to get baked, so maybe this will be really productive. And then we came out at the end of it like,
It's because I had
we
work,
need weed.
and that's why I wasn't as well, because I
Yeah.
had like work. Because you'd stayed over at mine, because we'd done a couple of sessions, like a couple of stuff, fucking hell. God.
A couple of stuffs.
We did a couple of stuff that night.
So we did some stuffs on a night, and you'd stayed over just so it's like, I have some time before work tomorrow. I don't trust you to go home and come back on time.
On time, yeah.
So just stay at mine. It'll be cushy. It'll be bros, man.
Yeah.
And we did, and it was cushy and bros. Although you weren't feeling that great, and neither.
That was when
really.
I was like, my throat was fucking like.
Was that when you were homeless?
No, that was
Nah.
that was before.
That was before. I never really was homeless. I got into an argument with my mum. She kicked me out.
There was a
Kicked
beautiful
me
period
out.
of the album where you were homeless Jack.
So my mum was like, you need to move out, and then I don't think she would have made me if I just said sorry and stopped being an arse, but I was like, you know what, fuck you, I don't need to live here. And then I was like, I need to find somewhere to stay. Messaged Oliver. I was like, Oliver, can I crash on your couch for like a little bit? And you were like, yeah, cool, stayed at yours for like a week. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm going home now. I said sorry to my mum, and she's realised that I was being an arse.
I didn't mind you being there at all.
Homeless
It was
Jack.
pretty great, man. It was pretty
Enjoyed
bros.
it.
I did enjoy it as well. I just felt
Bros.
I just liked that you were homeless for a while. 'Cause it made me feel like one of these bands that like.
Were we still doing guitars?
yeah. I think that was around the end of the Guitar Times, like.
Yeah, it wasn't
was
even
definitely
like
during the
guitar.
process.
It wasn't even during guitar where it would have actually helped us at all.
Yeah.
God, Jack, get fucking thrown out of your house. At a
A more
productive time
appropriate
next
time. That's it though. Like
Still
that must have
free.
been just under a year ago. So I think it was just after drums. I think it was well before guitars actually.
No, surely not. I sure it was. I think it was
'cause
after.
the cats are a year old in 2 days. The first batch litter, and then the second lot had just been born when I got kicked out. So that's
Apologies, Catmaster Jack.
But yeah, Catmaster, crazy Catmaster.
I like that your life is kept together in a time zone of when
the cats were
when
born.
your loads and loads of cats were born.
My kitties, yeah. Let's stop talking about that because I just won't. I won't stop if I start. What was I gonna say? Yeah, fucking weed, man. Thing is,
Of course.
like, this is we're talking about how like we had that session where we weren't that baked, and there's this like big old misconception that like if you smoke a lot of weed, you're not gonna get anything done ever, right? Some people are really high functioning with it, and I think like yeah, when I smoke a lot of weed, I fuck up on a lot of things. But I think when it comes round to like when we were doing the guitar sessions and stuff, I think it was good that we were getting mega chunked.
The only
Because,
reason I was doing it was because I just didn't want to be doing it.
But see, I think like it gave us like the first kind of half an hour after we sat outside in your old back bit of your old
Yeah.
flat and then had a doob, we'd come in and we'd not really get much done. But after like half an hour or something, you're just so baked, you need to focus on something. So you focus on the guitar and then you're like, I'm in the zone.
The way I remember it was like we would chill and have a doob, and that would be great. That would be like that would be like thank fuck. And then I'd go in and I'd look at Reaper and I'd be like, oh no,
I've done it again.
And then like you'd sit down beside me and I'd hear the clatter of you getting like your headphones together and I'd be like, oh no,
Okay.
oh no. And then I'd like press spacebar hesitantly and music would start playing and I'd be like, oh no.
I think that's it as well though, that you'd
Oh.
start it and then you'd be like, do you want to just have a couple playthroughs? And I'd be like, yeah. And then you just fuck off and go and like make some pasta or like a sandwich or something like. And like, then by the time you'd come back after all that, it was a little bit less stressy because I'd have played through a few times and I'd have been like, boom, I've kind of got this myself. And then I'd be like, okay, can you just hit record for me and I'll try it again. Yeah. And then by that point you've got a sandwich and you're sitting comfortably. You've got the jar of mayo and you're just fucking slathering that all over the place. And you're like, yes.
That sounds just like you.
I'm such a mayo fiend, by the way.
Same,
you are the
Have
mayo
you ever tried
man.
vegan mayo?
No.
I thought one of the things that would be hardest if I stopped eating animal products would be mayo, because I'd like, even like cheap mayo's a bit shit. You want fucking proper Hellmann's.
You're both proper mayo people.
Honestly, I've like fell in love with Oliver the moment I walked into his house, and I put so much mayo on everything, like pizzas as well. Like I slather them, and loads of people like that's
Pizza
disgusting.
is literally just a vessel for mayonnaise.
Right, exactly.
That's all it is.
No, it's not.
Before I met you, exactly. See, before I met you, so many people are like, "Oh, what are you doing? Like, you're ruining your pizza, slathering it with mayo and this and that." And I was like, "Man, like, just leave me alone. Let me enjoy my fucking pizza how I like it."
Yeah, like why are you
I'm totally down for that.
And then I turned up to Oliver's house this one time, and he's like, so he's got like his laptop in front of him on this like desk, and then like two kind of big speakers and stuff. Like it's quite cluttered. There's a lot of like musical stuff on it, and he just whaps out a pizza, and then he just like he doesn't even go through the kitchen, go to the fridge or nothing. No, he just reaches behind the speaker, and there's a squeezy mayonnaise, and he squeezes it all over his pizza, and I'm like, you're like my soulmate, bro. And then like he's running out and he reaches and gets the second backup mayonnaise from behind, and I'm like, this boy is prepared.
He's not even exaggerating.
It's so good. I was just like, mate, I need room mayonnaise, man. Like, I need like backup room mayonnaise.
It just got to the point where somebody was like, you have to fucking refrigerate mayonnaise, right? And I was just like, oh shit.
You're living proof that you don't need to, because you've been not doing it all this time and you're fine.
Yeah, true. Fucking hell. Mayo's so good. But like honestly, people are like, why the fuck are you putting like mayonnaise on pizza and just shoveling in? It's like, well, I can't exactly fucking open a jar of mayonnaise and start scooping it in my mouth with my bare hand, can I?
Yeah, I suppose.
Really
That's why.
That's it.
Then people will go like, he's a serial killer. It's like, nah, I've got to have something, and pizza's the best thing for it. But then it's like,
it doesn't matter what kind of pizza.
Well, I have pizza now, and I have it, and I go, where's the mayonnaise, bro?
Yeah.
But it all started from like when I had like Domino's once back in like when you're, I don't know, I think it was like maybe the first Domino's I'd ever had, and it has like the garlic dip.
Yeah.
And it was so sick, man. It was fucking awesome. But then like I would have pizza and I'd be like, oh, but I need garlic dip. Yeah. And then I found mayonnaise and it was like, this is just as good.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where this is better, because then I had garlic dip with the Domino's. Like, this is fucking shit.
See, when I used
straight out and just whapped it on.
See, when I used to get a Domino's and you'd get the free garlic dip, I wouldn't use it.
Yeah. I mean, I'd barely use it now.
Yeah, because I've always got mayo in the fridge. Like,
no, but I haven't replaced it with mayo. I would just never use it.
Yeah, I never used it.
Why would I dip this pizza in
for the
something?
Crusts, though, right? Like when you run out of the pizza and you've just got crappy crusts, you just dip them in the garlic stuff.
People don't. I like the crusts the best. People don't like the crusts.
Oh, I like the crusts, but I would much prefer to, instead of having like a dry mouth after maybe like your fifth crust or something, have something to dip them in. So
I think I quite like a bit of dry mouth.
I should smoke some dope, bro.
Yeah?
You get dry mouth all the time.
Do you?
You do, yeah.
I get it from coffee.
Oh, yeah.
All the time. Oh, yeah.
Coffee dry mouth's a bit shit, though, yeah. I mean, weed dry mouth is shit, too. I don't know
weed
why
dry
I'm saying
mouth
this
is
like it's a
actually
good
crap,
thing.
but like coffee dry, I've had that a lot today. Like, I've just got like, my body's just dried up to fuck, because all I've done is just sat in front of the computer, listening to guitars, and just drinking lots of coffee, and not actually eating any food, really. So I'm just like, and just like trying to like.
Have a wee grapefruit next time. They're very juicy.
Yeah, if you want to email me the PDFs of how to eat that, that'd be incredible. I can like sit in front of my phone and get like.
There were 9 steps. That's how many steps it takes.
That's
to
9 steps.
Eat a grapefruit. I know, right?
You know
That's
what's a
too
good
many steps to eat anything.
You know what's a good song? 9 Steps by Decapitated Man.
I've never heard it.
What album is that off?
That's off Winds of Creation.
Oh, I maybe heard it, but
yeah.
not. Yeah.
I've
What an unbelievable song that is. Speaking of 9 steps, I'm going to think about grapefruits every time I listen to that song.
Eat a grapefruit while performing
do you have that
steps.
thing where you listen to like a really sick, like really like chunky riff and you get hungry?
Nah.
I get that.
That's why you name all of the demos after food.
Yeah. In Waves by Trivium, that whole album just made me think of chicken. The whole album. Like, what was it? Like, the title track In Waves just it makes me just want to lick my lips and just like bite into like a big fucking like chicken breast.
Have you ever sat down with that album in a big pile of chicken and just, sort of...
It's kind of too late now. I've kind of moved on, really.
But maybe you'd appreciate it if you
should have cashed in at the time.
Yeah. It's just the guitar tone on that album is just so meaty.
Hunger has never been a direct result of me listening to music, I don't think. I don't think I've ever heard something that's actually made me hungry.
It's just heavy metal music makes me hungry. I don't know why. If it's done right. Gojira as well. There's a bit of Gojira.
Oh, yeah.
Gojira's more like premium steak, I think.
See, Gojira makes me want to eat, veggies, man.
Really? I suppose, yeah.
Scram some delicious vegetables.
Some jackfruit.
Oh.
Gojira jackfruit.
Jackfruit's amazing, by the way.
Jackfruit's sick.
Everyone talks about how it's pure smelly and that, but
so it's fucking meat.
Exactly. The thing is, when it's not prepared, it's meant to smell like rotten meat or whatever. And so I was
people that tell you fruit smells
gross.
bad, tell them to open up a packet of ham and tell you with a straight face it doesn't smell like farts.
Dude, yeah.
Puff that ham and tell me it smells.
It's like open that packet of £1 chicken right now and tell me it doesn't smell like
ham smells like farts.
fart.
But now that you say it, I'm like, that's exactly what sliced ham smells like. But now, I had some jackfruit at this fucking place, and it was jackfruit crab cakes. Oof. And crab, that's a real, that's a very specific kind of texture and flavor and all that. And I was like, how are they going to make that taste like it is? But legit, man, I wouldn't have known it was vegan or not crab if I hadn't ordered it knowing that. You know what I mean? It was
it's tasty.
I've started doing loads of jackfruit stuff in my work now. Kind of.
That's sick.
Yeah.
I remember that they've got jackfruit wraps and stuff at Sainsbury's or something like that.
They're pretty good.
Yeah,
I've barbecue jackfruit. Yeah, they're good. Jackfruit's pretty yummy, man. It's not something I'd ever tried before going vegan, but
I mean, Jack himself is pretty yummy as well.
I would recommend it. Even if you're not a vegan, give it a try. It is yummy.
Yeah.
Where have we got up to in this whole album chat of ours now?
The album.
Well,
I mean, we've talked about the drums and the recording bits and
we didn't really talk about bass because bass was just so goddamn easy anyway.
I feel like bass was, there wasn't much to say. You were kind of like, I like a clanky tone, and I was like, I don't like a clanky tone. So we made a tone that was in the middle, and we were both like, that's fucking amazing.
Yeah, totally.
And then we recorded all the bits, and I was like, okay, I'm going home now.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah, that's it.
It must have been 2 or 3 sessions max, maybe. Maybe even 2. I can't remember.
It was more than that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, there's probably 1 session just to get the tone.
1 session just to get the tone, and then I think we did Swarm. I don't know, because there was one where we did a kind of all dayer, and Swarm we started with everyone, and then everyone kind of dropped off, and we just kept going. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I think
the way the sessions were kind of working was kind of I could just stay out as long as I'd never had anything on when we were doing the sessions.
Yeah.
So it was kind of we would finish one, it'd be like, well, do you want to just do another one?
Yeah.
And then it'd be like, yeah, okay. Until it got ridiculously late, and I was like, right, I should probably leave now.
Yeah, totally.
But I don't really remember anything being that difficult about doing the bass. The hardest thing was getting the tone.
Yeah.
Once that was out of the way, it was like, that's fine, I just got to play.
And even then, it didn't take that long.
No.
Sick.
Shout out to Dark Glass, by the way.
Oh, Dark Glass!
That Dark Glass B7K pedal is just the best thing that I own.
All the new ones that they've got out now are fucking.
All their stuff's really good.
Yeah, the Alpha Omega, which is Andrew Stockdale from Carnival's one. That's. I want to kiss it.
Yeah, they're great pedals for people like me that are just not really gear junkies at all.
Yeah,
and I really don't have that much knowledge on tone and stuff like that. It's because I bought it and I was worried that I was not going to be able to use it to the best of its ability or whatever.
Yeah,
just because I'm not knowledgeable on all that sort of stuff, and I was kind of I'm gonna have to learn how it works. Pretty much just plugged it in and it sounded great.
The thing is with a Dark Glass, everybody uses it as a distortion pedal, but it's not. It's like an impression and EQ.
Yeah,
and that's kind of. I mean, you can use it for pretty much anything.
But you can. It's got a nice little blend dial on it where you can take the full sound of the pedal, or you can blend it down to mix in the amp sound.
Yeah.
And I don't put the blend up very high at all because I really like that sort of punchy, clean sort of sound. That's ideally. So when I play live, it's sitting at I don't know. It's only a quarter of the way round.
Yeah.
It just adds that little bit. But I think when we recorded it was a bit further.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But we were taking a clean DI as well.
Yeah.
So we were boosting the distortion as well.
But we would put the Dark Glass into basically a guitar amp.
Yeah.
So we would have your bass going into a guitar amp, but like with the dark glass in front of that.
Yeah.
Just to kind of make it sound completely nonsensical and gnarly, and then take like the clean DI from your dark glass to split the signal, and then put it into my other.
And then blended them together.
Yeah. But
I just remember it sounding really good, and us being like, "Holy fuck, we just made a great sound."
Yeah. I then took like the clean DI, and then put like another kind of slight bit of grit on it, just to kind of make it kind of stick out a little bit. But yeah, it sounds nonsense.
It's really punchy. It's good.
Bass was a breeze, breezy bass, Billy bass breezy. That's
the thing as well, though. I think like the sound of your bass on the album, because I missed all that with you guys like coming up with the tone and all that. But I sometimes feel like a lot of metal stuff, it's like either the bass is not really there enough, or it's there but it's just loud. And you know, I think with your bass on the album, it cuts through without being like really cranked. Do you know what I mean? Like it's really
that's kind of all part of the tone you want
from the guitar.
Well, it's like the way that I've always kind of done heavy guitars and bass is like the bass is the only thing that really makes it sound good. It's like you'd have like the guitars on either side of your ear, kind of just adding the kind of nice little like the flare. The kind of like almost tinny kind of like
that fluidity of the distortion.
Yeah, and then it's like, and that's what gives you like the kind of grit on either side. But if you take the bass out, then it's just sort of like it does sound crap.
Yeah.
Like it's just gent. That's it. That's the only reason I do that is because gent bands do that. And it sounds sick.
That's it.
So, and vocals was a bit of a fucking shite-mare.
I really, really enjoyed the whole vocal process, but I don't know if that's...
I did and I didn't.
I would have liked it a lot more if I didn't have to do so much of it.
Yeah.
Like, you can imagine it being quite a fun... I know, but they're not a fun thing for me to do.
I had quite a lot of fun, but I think in the past, whenever we've done vocals, it's been really fun for me, because I'm like, okay, I'm going to turn up, I'm going to shout these like 4 words.
Yeah.
Bam, sorted. And then like, you know, we did a couple of cleans in that before, but then that's always like quite smooth, quite easy going. But I think with this, it was quite different, because you've got loads of sections where it's just you doing vocals.
Yeah.
Like, and I've got loads of bits where, you know, it's me and you, or like in Sick to the Back Teeth.
Yeah, you've got a lot of stuff on that.
Yeah, totally. But I didn't find that it was like too much more effort or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun being able to just go.
I feel like there was flashes of like great times within the vocal recording process.
Yeah.
But we were kind of just generally a little bit too unprepared for everything to run smoothly.
I think part of it was like watching the clock as well.
But every session it was kind of like we would just get stuff done, like right at the very, very end.
And it would be like, well, we don't even really know if that was any good, to be honest. I think in my head I was just kind of like, well, it sounds good enough, and to be fair, it's not even sounding good. Like, I think that sounds really good, considering how we're doing it and all the constraints we're under. It's pretty good. If that goes on the album, I have no qualms. Everybody else kind of going, well, that's getting done again. It's like,
okay. Thing is, for the first 2 or 3 songs, it was kind of like that. We were doing one almost as a demo version.
Yeah.
And then we would go back in the next time and then do the final version of that.
Yeah, which was a good way to do it, but then it just got to the point where it's like, we can't do this. We just don't have the time to do this.
But then it kind of got to the point where I would do the demo version and we'd go back in to do it, and I wouldn't be doing it as good as the first time.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like this light bulb moment where it was like, well, a lot of the time the first time I'm trying to do it is actually the best time.
Well, yeah, totally. That's like the vocal is like the main kind of performance aspect of it anyway. And you want to capture that as organically as possible, and if you're kind of going, oh, okay, let's do that again, it's like, well, you're never going to do that again, and it's never going to be as good. It's like, that's the thing where I never really liked you taking more than one take, because I just thought, well, what's the point? That sounds great. It's only going to get worse, and a lot of times it did get worse. Yeah,
I mean, every now and again, the second or third one would be like, yeah, okay, that was better, but for the most part, you would always revolve around to the first one anyway.
I guess though that's kind of like where like you're hearing the first one and you're thinking to yourself like, I can do better than that. But then
it turns out you can't.
You hear 2 more, and then you're like, wait, that it sort of makes you realise how good that first one
It gives you a bit of context, yeah.
And then you go, I like that now because I've got something.
A lot of the time I would just ask to do another take just as a safety barrier.
Yeah.
Almost just to make sure.
Yeah, I love that. I didn't really do many second takes and stuff, like, but then I
You
guess
don't
it's
need to.
easy for me because I'll just be doing like either something really long and fucking belting it, or like a wee syllable or whatever. It's like, alright, can I do that? Boom.
I think as well, it's like the vocal style that you have is like, you will literally sound worse. Like even just one, like maybe, because you maybe do like 1 or 2 takes, and it wasn't because the take was bad, it was because like the mic was clipping.
Or like I was going too long or not long enough or whatever.
Yeah. Like just things that like, that was great, but you've gone for a bit too long.
Well, a lot of the vocals that you two do on the album are like backing vocals for stuff that I've already done.
Yeah.
So like a lot of
it.
the hard thing for you guys to do is to match it in length exactly and stuff.
Yeah. I think it was really fun though, like being able to, because I think in all the previous stuff, like I wanted to do vocals from pretty much when I joined the band, but I used to talk to you about it all the time and then not do it. You know what I mean? How cool would it be to do backing vocals? And you're like, well, just fucking do them then.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I'm a little nervous. And I think it was like fucking doing.
Doing vocals sucks. Like
I don't know.
I don't
But then
particularly
a lot
like
of my vocals are like really like growly or really like screamy or whatever, and it's like I don't really have to like deal with the endurance thing that you do. Do you know what I mean? Like you're having to like think about playing the riff and doing the vocal and having enough breath for the next vocal.
Yeah.
I've got a bit more of that on this album because there'll be bits where I'm trying to do like a really low growl, and then like a couple of seconds later it's like trying to then adjust and do a clean, and then we're harmonizing the clean, so it's like I've got to be dead on, or
we've got to actually sound good.
I think we generally pushed the limit of the vocals on this for kind of everybody.
Yeah.
And I think it turned out really good, but while we were trying to do that, it was very much like we're pushing ourselves to try and do something better than we've ever done before.
But
and it's quite apparent because it was like, okay, we need to do this much better.
It was like we wanted to, well, at least I was like, well, we've got to really, really push the boat out when it comes to vocals, and we'd just given ourselves so little time to do that, and I was just so angry at ourselves. We're just sort of like, we really, really needed for these to be absolutely sick, and I'm just not convinced they are going to be sick, but at the same time I'd rather just have something.
Yeah.
So, I think they turned out really good.
Yeah.
I think when we finally got it done, it was like, here, we put a lot of fucking really good vocals on that.
There's a lot of variety.
A lot more.
Well,
the performances on it are actually fantastic. Whether like the sound quality themselves are like absolutely perfect. Like
they sound a little bit raw, but I fucking like that.
Yeah, I really dig it.
I think in terms of doing it over like weeks and stuff, where we'd have one session a week or whatever as well, it was a bit of a learning curve in itself. And like, like then by the end, some of the later songs we were doing, we were experimenting with more things. Because we kind of, like, I mean, for you, you've done a lot of vocals and other stuff as well. You know what I mean? And you've done a lot of different styles in that. But with you've had kind of like a pretty similar style for the whole of the Disposable.
Well, I mean, my vocal style on this album is much more aggressive than anything before.
Yeah,
totally.
Like in terms of sort of growly, screamy kind of stuff. Almost all my vocals on the album are that kind of style.
Yeah.
Whereas like all the vocals on the album and the EP are kind of like that sort of shoutier kind of delivery. Whereas this is a lot more of a guttural, screamy, growly kind of thing.
I think it's given like me and you kind of a lot of like a chance to kind of like learn what our own style is. Do you know what I mean? You especially, I think like when we were doing the demos and stuff, it kind of took a while to, you were trying to do something and then you'd come back to it a bit fresher.
Yeah.
Then you'd know what you wanted to do from hearing back what you'd done before. And I think like...
Well, I feel like I had to actually get quite good at vocals in order to do the things that we actually wanted for this album.
I mean, I think you were always good. Like, you just didn't really have like an image of what you wanted to do. And I think over the course of recording vocals for this album, there's a definite like consistent... like.
Well, I just think the musical style as well of the album is calling out for that more aggressive vocal style. So like even the thrashy stuff was a bit more on like the evil kind of brutal side of stuff, like songs like Sick to the Back Teeth and Faceless and stuff. They're all like, they're a bit less of this kind of anthemic thrash and more of just kind of that brutal kind of thrash. So it's like, well, I wanted to try and start doing more screamy stuff for that, and then to the stuff that you kind of write is a bit more groovy and stuff, where that same aggressive style also works, because you wouldn't want to do that kind of shouty thrash thing over a lot of the stuff that you wrote. So like, yeah, I think it just worked out in all aspects, and the music kind of pushed it into that way. But then is still that kind of, I don't know what we refer to as punk Billy or whatever it was, but like
Billy
old school Billy vocal.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, Punk Billy is still there. He's just stronger.
Yeah, that's it. It's just better. Yeah.
Punkier.
We see when Punk Billy comes back, he's so much fiercer now. Yeah, he's great. He's a good boy.
I think we eventually, when we got to the end of the vocals, it was so much of a thank God that's over moment.
Yeah.
That it took a little while for me to be like listening back and going, in fact, we done some really gnarly stuff.
The only thing I really enjoyed about the vocals was going home and ticking it off on the.
That's one of my favourite parts of the whole process was ticks on the board, man.
I still have the board somewhere.
Do you?
I might frame it.
Nice.
That's cool. Yeah.
I mean, if anybody cared, I would like have us all sign it and like give it to somebody, but I'm not sure that anyone would really care that much. So I'll probably just keep it.
Me and Jack were talking about old relics and stuff, and just try to keep them safe so that we know where they are. Like, I found the original lyric sheet for Addiction from like 2013 the other day.
That's like
a relic from the vaults, man.
2013? Was that? Yeah, I suppose. Cause
I think so, yeah.
We didn't write lyrics to it for a while, did we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it was 2013. And it was just like under a book somewhere. And it was like, we need to clean this fucking house more.
That's nuts.
I was going through a bunch of stuff today. Found like some old Kingpin set list from that was like Banshee like 3-4 years ago. All of Scimitar's set lists from that tour that we did with them. I think I've got 2 of the Dundee one. But just outside the Roommate Killjoy set list, like fucking. And I found Sabiendas as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was cool.
And I found the fucking Anthropocide like lyrics. But do you remember like when Billy wrote a bunch of lyrics, then I wrote my own bunch of lyrics, then we got together at yours and kind of amalgamated those lyrics from me and Billy, and then in between where I'd written the lyrics, all the kind of self-inflicted atrophy and bits scribbled in your handwriting, like where you've added in like the lyrics to go over that bit, and then it's like
that's cool.
It's cool. Yeah, it's like something we need to get them out and learn them, because I just scream random syllables when I'm trying to practice that.
There's so many lyrics in that song. That's the only one that I still struggle with learning the lyrics, because I'm like, God, I've actually got like 4 or 5 verses in that one.
I was so proud of like writing all that and stuff, and I was like, yes, this is good, the content is good, and then you actually look at it and it's like in my tiny handwriting a page, and then flip over and then another bit, and it's like, fuck, man.
Yeah, there's loads of lyrics in that song.
Very wordy.
What was interesting for me is that there's a couple of songs that are basically entirely your lyrics, which is something that we'd never done before as well.
Yeah, I'm really happy. I'm happy with that as well. It was nice. It was because like it was like, you're just like, oh, me, I want to do that.
It's something I've always wanted to do.
You go, champ.
Like,
on you go.
You were saying,
yeah, for us it was just like,
you know how you were saying earlier on, where I get like fucking ideas and I hold them close to my chest for fucking ages.
Yeah.
And then, like in my head, I've listened to that song with that idea for so long that's just how it is to me now.
Yeah.
But you guys have never ever heard that idea in your entire puff, and then I'm like, what about this? And you're like, no, I don't like it. And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean you don't like it? This is
that's how it is.
So I was like, and I've kind of like, that's been the way I've been on older stuff, and I wanted to write lyrics for album stuff and EP stuff and that, and I'd be like, oh, I really want to write some lyrics on this one. I've got some themes that I want to get into, and you're like, well, write them. And I'd get round to like actually the day of recording, and even with some stuff on this album, we'd get round to we're recording the vocals for this. Where's your lyrical ideas? And I'm like, you're like, well, I've got lyrical ideas.
We were writing some lyrics in the studio while I was literally 10 seconds before we were about to record them.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of Graves that way.
Totally.
Yeah.
Or like you just totally made up lyrics when you done a vocal demo for it.
Yeah.
I remember like we were in the car somewhere and you were like,
that was when I was writing Faceless. We were on the way to Inverness.
I think, yeah, and you were like, what are the, so just more like getting straight, what are the lyrics for Graves? And I was like, I don't know.
Like you'd literally just made them up on the spot.
Of you singing them. It's like, oh, well, probably that then.
And so
like,
many.
So what are they? I don't know.
So many of them actually got used as well.
Yeah.
It was like you had to go back and actually work out what you had said.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh man, those are cool.
Go back and work out what I'd said, and then be like, is this rubbish? And the majority of people would go, yes, it's rubbish. And I'm like, I agree.
And even listening to like the phonetic of what you said and turning it into something else that wasn't what you said, and being like, well, that fits nicely.
Basically just how I write.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it though. I got really excited over like fucking, I think it was when Faceless I started writing the lyrics ages ago, and I was like, I had something that I wanted it to be about, and then I told you what I thought I wanted it to be about.
That was like the whole it's like home but it's so dark and it's so cold and it is so empty. And
it's like home but it's so dark I can't
But
even remember it
it's-
now because I can only.
It was
hear
a
the
running
one.
joke that
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you were
It's like
putting in tiny
it's
little
like
words.
home, but it's so dark. It's so dark, empty, and cold. That was it.
No, it ended with "and it's cold." You're like, it's like home,
like
but
home,
it's so dark, and it's so
dark,
empty, and
empty,
it is
and-
cold.
Nah.
And I was like, you've got to take out some
That
ands
was-
and some it's. bro.
It was because it was a quote from something, and I wanted it to be the direct quote. But then it works when it's not the direct quote either, you know. I was like, but I was really. That's one of those things where I
It's
made a
another
little
thing.
vocal demo of it, listened to it millions, and then when you said there's too many buts and it's in that, and I'm like,
It
listen
was
to
just so
bro. It's
dumb,
fucking-
and you were so.
it's like
you
home,
were
but
so
it's so
into it.
dark. But I think that's the thing I quite like, whereas things are quite a mouthful. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of words in it. Whereas you're like, the words should be on the stabs, and also I'm going to have to sing them, so
Yeah.
stop that, you know, make it condense it a bit.
I remember disliking that vocal so much that it was like, well, you're gonna have to do it then.
Yeah, and I did it.
And
it
I
was
actually
fun.
really like it,
Yeah,
but
but
probably just because I didn't do it.
I
There's quite a lot
started
of
writing
that,
that
yeah.
ages ago, and then fucking, but then super thrash fuck. Sorry, it's Anthropocide.
Super thrash fuck.
Super thrash fuck.
Probably my
Anthropocide.
favourite working title for anything on this album.
That was me, wasn't it?
Yeah,
thrash fuck,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But Anthropocide was like I had a vague idea of what I wanted it to be about. And then a couple of days before, you were like, where's these fucking lyrics? And I had like bits of like scribbles in that. And I just got really in the zone one night, and I sat down. And it's all about, you know, like the kind of world getting all fucked up, and we're
You've
doing
got a
that
super
in the
really
name
detailed
of
theme.
progress. Yeah.
That's good.
And it's like the kind of idea that we're like trying to, we're talking about how we're making great progress and stuff, but actually the progress that we're making is destroying what
Yeah.
we're...
It's like at what cost?
Yeah.
Is the
Yeah.
is-
Totally. And
the
I was just like
progress. But at
really
what
fired
cost?
up, and I was really annoyed by all this stuff. And I think I've been watching the news and reading loads of environmental articles and
Yeah.
shit like that. So I just got fired in the night before the session that we were going to record it, and I
Yeah.
just got really in the zone and wrote a shit ton of things. And I was so scared. Like when I went and showed you, I was like, I've written some lyrics, but you know. And you were like looking at me, you were like, I quite like that, and you were like, oh, I quite like that.
I think at that point we were like, well, anything's better than what we've come up with.
Yeah.
And
I
we
was
can't
really
just-
struggling to write anything for that song.
I think we just couldn't be arsed as well.
Yeah.
I think, and then there was somebody in the band who could still be arsed.
Yeah.
And actually like, oh, I really like these, and I've worked really hard on them. It's like, yeah, they're good.
I'd
Yeah.
kind of
Of course you put
exhausted
it on
all my
Yeah.
lyrical ideas by that point. Like Swarm, I remember writing the lyrics for really easily, and then Sick to the Back Teeth, we wrote the lyrics for really easily, and then like Arrive Alive, Leave Dead was a struggle.
Yeah, that was a slog.
Introverted Cross was one of the first ones I wrote. I found that one really easily,
Yeah.
and then Graves, you just kind of done,
Yeah.
and it was done. And then Suffocator, I remember writing really easily.
Suffocator, yeah.
So like
Yeah,
before that, I
Suffocator's
done
really easy.
Swarm, Sick to the Back Teeth, Introverted Cross, and Suffocator. I was really happy with, but I felt like I totally exhausted all my ideas on those ones.
Mm-hmm.
So when it came round to Arrive Alive, Leave Dead, and like Faceless and Anthropocide, it was like I was totally out of ideas at that point. So I was like literally coming to the table with pretty much fuck all.
Yeah.
So when
The
Jack
thing
was
is,
like,
though,
I really want to write some songs, it was like,
With-
please do.
Yeah.
That would be
Faceless, I had
fucking
the lyrics
helpful.
for ages, but then with Anthropocide, you did have a set of lyrics, and I did kind of not.
They were
rip them
kind of
off,
naff though.
But the thing is, they were kind of naff. But like
The
a lot
patterns
of
were
them-
okay.
A lot of the words that, yeah, like the patterns were cool, but
I
then
think
a lot
it's
of
like
the
much
words
exactly
that I
you'd done a
used
set
in
by
mine-
yourself, and it was kind of naff.
Mm.
And then we did a set us like,
Together, yeah.
together, and the patterns were really cool, but the content was even naffer.
Mm.
And then you came along and said both of these are naff,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
did something that wasn't naff and was actually good.
But then the thing is, I ended up like, you know, there were some bits of yours that I used, like the clean melody bit that I totally ripped off of you. But then there was bits where I was like, I don't know, I think yours had Paradise, and then I was like, right, I'm making this way gnarlier and dirtier, like fucking Parasite. That sounds kind of similar. And it was like almost like phonetic rip-offs of what you'd done. But then I'd think of it, and then I'd be like, that actually really fits the theme of.
I
what
knew
I'm
that
going
had like
for.
a good base for where the lyrics should be in the pattern that they should be. I just was totally
Didn't
out
have
of
the words.
actual lyrical
Yeah.
ideas. Yeah.
But then that's it. Like, I think as well, like you're the bit. And I was like, I'd left that as just instrumental, and you were like, nah, there has to be words in that. And then
Yeah.
you were like, well, these are the words I wrote, and I was like, they actually fit perfectly with what I wrote. So
Oh, yeah,
slide
yeah,
down
with
and
the original thing that-
self-inflicting atrophy
yeah.
and shit. And I'm like, well, that's what my song's actually about. So fucking
Yeah, it was weird because it's like I tried when I had that riff, in my head I was just thinking Strapping On Lad. And when I'm Strapping On Lad, it's just like vocals aplenty, just like bah, bah, bah,
Yeah.
bah,
Yeah, totally.
it's just like all over it. And then I pitched it to you and you're like, that's physically not possible. And I'm like, haha, so you're right. What do I do now?
Yeah, I mean the vocal process was not as smooth as it should have been, but I am really happy with it. I'm really happy with the results for all the album.
Yeah.
Like upon listening back to it, it's like we done something really, really good here. It just, for a big period in the middle, it was like this big dark haze. Because I remember when we had all the songs ready, like we'd written the album, and we were all so excited because it was like, this is fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were dead happy with what we'd written, but just the process of actually making it makes you kind of forget that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of fits with the overall theme of what the album seems to have become about, and kind of like what we've pitched artwork ideas about, and kind of what the feelings that we want it to kind of instill. Like it's like all the things that everybody gets worried about, and throughout their life, that are all these things that people think about, or just really like life in general. It just drags you down, and it just will grind you away into a pulp. And this kind of what this album probably did to all four of us in a weird way.
It was kind of like a physical amalgamation of its own theme.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like all the lyrical themes have a lot to do with just general kind of dissatisfaction. I mean, with Jack's, it was dissatisfaction with like, is it Anthropocide? Is it dissatisfaction like the world that we're living in, and kind of looking at what we're doing and kind of going like, this is really dumb. Why are we doing this? But a lot of like the lyrics that, well, with Graves and stuff, and a lot of the lyrics that I was listening to from Billy, it was like a lot of dissatisfaction and kind of not really being like happy with our people that we are, or just our own kind of personal place that we were in. Like Swarm, every time I hear that, and it's like, don't want to be a number on a list. What kind of life is this? It's like, am I just going about my day like everybody else, the same old routine?
Yeah,
everything.
that's it.
Am I just like punching a clock, and I'm going to be doing that for the rest of my life?
Totally.
You know, when you're walking down like a street, and you're just kind of like the same, like just like a face in amongst a sea of faces, a number on a list. And like Arrival, I Believe Dead, there was like a lot of similar thing. An Introverted Cross, that you've said that it's all about like being too much in my own in your own head.
Yeah,
really.
totally, man.
Yeah, thing as well, like Faceless, like I kind of took a lot of inspiration from the whole like Upside Down Stranger Things thing, but then I think Tucker was like, oh, like don't make it all about that, because that's a bit cheesy. Try and give it another sort of theme. So then I was kind of thinking about it in the whole like Upside Down thing, and I was really depressed at that point, and I was thinking like, you know, there's this kind of like dark place that's in the same place that you are, and you go out and you put on a front and you put on this face and you're like, I'm this guy. But then when you're by yourself and you're all alone, you're like,
yeah, that's it.
But then it's like an amalgamation of like all these tracks that like we never intended to have any similarities between them, but then it's when you take a step back from it and you're like, oh wait,
I think there's quite a noticeable running theme throughout. And it's kind of like, yeah, it's weird. A lot of my lyrical ideas were like not about like being depressed and that, because I'm not depressed, and I don't want anyone to think that I actually am. But it was like, it was always just a kind of confusion as to sort of what should really be going on, or like something like that, or not being, I don't know, able to make a certain decision, because. And it's not because either thing was bad, it was just like something to do with the act of decision making was tough for me. Like having to decide things for myself and having to make a kind of progression and leave something away so I could get something else is kind of not something that I'm wired to do. Yeah. I'm wired to just sort of donder down the path and hope that everything's okay. Yeah. And I think like a lot of my lyrical themes were like me, and for some reason in 2018 it was coming to the forefront in my life that I should probably start making a few good decisions for myself, or even bad decisions, just any decision, just start making some kind of decision.
Exactly the same for me. It was definitely reaching the point where I was looking at myself in the mirror and kind of going, you're a fucking mess, like you've fucking smoked a whole year of your life away in 2017 and if you're not careful you're going to fucking do it again. And you're wasting away in this like depression pit of a flat, and you're not happy with anything, and you're stewing away over like a relationship that went bad or something. And you don't feel like you're good enough for anything, and it's like, well, you're not going to feel good about yourself if you don't at least try to do something to make yourself feel better. But then like turning that boat around is so hard.
Yeah.
Especially in it felt at the time, the circumstances that I was in, it felt like I was trying to steer a boat around in a sea of fucking custard or something.
Yeah.
Just sort of like, this ship is going fucking nowhere, but there's a tiny bit of give, but it's taken every single ounce of my effort to do it.
That's kind of what all the Suffocator, I don't know why I said it like that. Suffocator lyrics are kind of about like all the theme that I went into with that was water, just because like I don't know, I like writing about water for some reason. But
it sounds kind of watery, like the music as well.
I think that's also kind of what it was. It was like
think of like deep waves.
Yeah, like you were miles away from any civilization in the middle of the sea.
Yeah,
but that's kind of what it made me feel like from listening to the music. But that's kind of what it is about. It's kind of like you've steered your ship so far into the water that you can't see where it came from, and kind of just at peace with that's how it is now.
Yeah.
You know, and so instead of, that's what the whole reject their help thing is. It's like people on the shore are like screaming for you to come back.
Mm-hmm.
You're like,
and you're kind of like, I think I'll just drift out into endless nothingness, thanks.
But you're going to drown, and it's like, so be it. Like,
that's kind of it's like that sort of like, well,
already.
Yeah. A lot of like,
I think as well, like fucking the Graves, and one thing I really liked about the lyrics to that is that kind of my right to say why try. Do you know what I mean? It's like people fighting like for the right to do like positive things and that always. The reason I really liked that when I first listened to it is like sometimes, you know, people are like, you need to do this and you need to get better, and you're like, well, maybe I just want my life to be fucking shit. Have you never thought of that? And
a lot of it was a lot of it with Graves. It was just, it got so much easier to just destroy myself than actually make myself feel better.
Yeah.
And it's like this a race, this chase, or whatever, there's that kind of thing. It's just sort of like this whole life is just like this one kind of big old like rat race that you're a part of, and it's just fucking sucks. And I don't really want to be a part of it, but unfortunately I am. However, the easiest way to not be a part of it is to just fucking wreck yourself and just not give a fuck. And even like destroying myself isn't like going out and, you know, like going out with the fucking lads and being a weekend warrior. Like, you know, it's like the little things. It's about like, you know, like for me, it's like working absolutely far too much to the bone, not seeing any of my pals, and basically distancing myself from anyone. Before I know it, it's been 2 months and I've not seen a single fucker of my pals. I don't even know how to see any of my pals at all. And then back then, it was just sort of like, well, it was so much easier to just like smoke a whole bunch of weed and then just watch a whole bunch of cartoons and then just have a fucking borderline weed-induced panic attack alone in my bed, and then be like, well, I don't have anything else, I'll just do that again. And just kind of being like, oh well, this is just a lot easier than taking a long hard look at myself in the mirror. But there was a whole bunch of really hard decisions that kind of came from all of that really during the album process that were like, I need to fucking change this. Really hard, really spooky, and it was really weird that the album process was still going on at the time that I had to do all of this. Like even like moving out, like I feel like a lot of the lyrics, maybe from you and also from me, are exactly how we felt at the time. Yeah. And I already don't feel like I feel exactly that same way anymore. But like I feel really happy that they are just a verbal snapshot of where we were at that point. It's so important. But it's weird because it's like, well, if you're gonna make like an artistic output like that, it's got to be really honest. And if it's like that, if that's, even if it's like not. I'm really glad I probably don't relate to the album nearly as much as I do anymore. If it did, it would be probably for nothing. Yeah, that's it. It's because it makes me feel better because it's like, well, I don't actually feel that way anymore. And so really, something must have happened that's all right. And I feel glad that I was making a fucking heavy metal record at the time that my life was a fucking mess, because it makes that heavy metal record sound fucking sick. Yeah. But for me, like a lot of the lyrical stuff, like a lot of the stuff I wrote probably could be misconstrued as this kind of like coming from a point of depression, which is really not where I was at all. Yeah. But it was all coming from a place of uncertainty. An indecision, yeah. So it was all like all my stuff that I've written for this album all comes from a place of just being confused over whether life itself is just this tiny little insignificant blip in a billion unfathomable miles of space that means nothing, or whether life is every single thing that I will ever experience ever, and
the best, luckiest, incredible miracle that I'm even here. And I was like, well, which one is it? And reality is it's probably somewhere in the middle, and you just fucking crack on with it.
It's all of those and more.
Like, it's kind of like one day I'll wake up and I'll be like, it's a fucking miracle that I'm alive and I'm in the best mood ever. And then another day I'll wake up and I'll be like, well, why should I bother really doing anything? Because nothing matters.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, it sounds silly and just like a dumb question that you should put to the back of your head, but it's kind of like, well,
it's really hard to do that. I find it really hard to do.
And it's just, it's bizarre. So it's trying to verbalize that sort of. It's not even an insecurity of myself, because I wouldn't describe myself as an insecure person. It's kind of just like an insecure definition of what I am.
Yeah.
You know, because I feel fine and I am fine, and
we were all in the swamp.
But there was always a bit of uncertainty as to what the actual fuck is going on here.
Yeah, this album is like represents 4 angry and sad boys being stuck in the swamp, and the swamp being like this dark period where you're kind of like
just stagnating. Yeah,
and you're in a hazy mist, and you're kind of going, well, I don't really know what to do, and you're not really sure where to go, and you're not really sure, because it's like everything's such an effort for you at that point just to kind of be alive. To then kind of go and put yourself in a direction is a lot of effort, and you're kind of still going, well, what if I make all this effort and I'm still the same? And I've just wasted a whole bunch of effort, and I'm going to still stay back in the same place. Yeah, it's still so much of an effort for me to like wake up and get up and actually do something with my day. Or if I've got nothing to do with my day, find something to do. Because if not, I'm just going to stagnate. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to smoke a whole bunch of doobs and fall straight back to sleep again.
I think it's interesting that like I reckon we probably all look at each other. I mean, maybe not you guys look at me, because I'm quite evidently a bit of a mess.
I wouldn't want to fucking look at you, to be honest.
But then I look at you guys and I'm like, oh man, these guys have got their shit together. I feel like the total mess of this band. But then almost without us having a conversation about it, with like writing the music and that, you kind of realise like, whoa, like, what did you mean by that lyric? And you're kind of like, oh, you know, I kind of just feel like I'm stagnating because it's, and then you're like, oh, and you realise that we were all in a similar place at that kind of point as well.
I feel like
it depends how you define what stagnate means.
Everybody has their own definitions, though. That's the thing.
Totally.
I mean, people look at me and kind of go, oh, everything's like going great for you. You've got like maybe like 2 or like 3 not bad paying jobs, and you've got a band and you've got this and you're happy, and it's like, yeah, I've got like 3 jobs, none of which have any fucking guarantee of work, no structure whatsoever. I have no sleeping pattern to really speak of whatsoever. I have like things that have no structure. I have to like be on it for everything, and if when I'm not, everything falls apart. Yeah, it's just the most. It's like. I live in my own personal little stress cocoon, and it follows me around everywhere, and it sucks.
That's kind of, like, I'm kind of in a similar sort of, without the working loads, like, I don't work enough, but, like, with the sleeping pattern being a mess, and, like, fucking not, I don't know, just, like, you know, you were saying, like, you know, like, you still struggle to get up or whatever, like, and, like, I've been trying really hard recently, and I think when we were going through the album stuff, I was trying really hard to, like, want to, like, get my shit together and get my life together and that, and then just not feeling it. I seen this really good BoJack Horseman quote the other day, and I was like sort of thinking about it, and it's like, you know, people always say to you like, it's not that hard, you've just got to get up and do it, and this and that, and it's like, I think the quote is something that's like talking about like the parts of life, and it's like, it's not hard, but you have to do it every day, and like just doing those little things every day, that's the hard part. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, it's all about healthy habits and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, it's weird. Like, a lot of the stuff on the album is dark, but I don't know. It still very much feels like a moment in time for me.
Yeah, like a snapshot.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it doesn't have to be endemic of the way that we are as people. It's just the way that we were
at the time. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to verbalize. Yeah,
it's just the way that these people felt at a certain time of their lives, and it just so happens that all of them were.
It's weird though, because it's like maybe it's kind of lucky that 2018 was a bit naff for all of us, because we all had like things to actually write about.
Well, we all had each other as well. I mean, it's like we were all like at each other's throats, but at the same time, it's like if I wasn't at your throat, who else's throat would I have been at?
Yeah, it was good therapy. Like a lot of energy and aggression.
I probably would have been at my own throat, and I was at my own fucking forehead with my fist for a lot of it. And I had like a whole bunch of guys around me to kind of go, yeah, that normal person doesn't do that. Are you a bit stressed? It's
Well,
like,
I've, like-
actually, yeah.
In the past, I'd kind of suffered from like not knowing what to write about.
Yeah.
So like for the album and the less so the EP, but the EP as well, it was kind of like struggling for things to write about.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this time round, I felt like I had a whole bunch of stuff that I wanted to actually get off my chest.
Yeah.
It was almost like a therapeutic writing session for me. And it's like, well, what's my outlet for that? Probably the lyrics for the band.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like the first time I've ever felt like I actually had stuff that's vaguely emotional that I actually wanted to write down on paper and then shout about.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of cool. Like it kind of...
That's all right.
No, but I mean, it worked out, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I really wanted to get away from writing about these sort of third-party things that are like just subject matters that aren't related directly to me.
Yeah.
Like I'd much rather write about personal things than
Mm-hmm.
impersonal things. So yeah,
Anyway, that's the album.
that was a nice dark little note to end on. Not to give people the idea that we're all, yo, Jack's taking a picture.
It's just for Tucker.
Oh, just for Liam.
Yeah, he just messaged me saying shit just got real, yo, and then didn't tell me why. So.
I think he means that the event page is now up on social media and
Oh yeah.
the album now publicly exists. So yeah, that was
Yeah.
episode 8. We're probably going to wrap it up soon because we're at
Like
2
half 12.
hours and 11 minutes. Wow, that was quite a long one.
Yeah, that was
it
a long
didn't
one.
feel like a long one.
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
Considering at the start it was like, well, what are we going to talk about today?
Grapefruit
It
and
turned out
pancakes.
Oh yeah, grapefruit and
We've come
pancakes.
so far.
Mm.
But yeah, so the album's coming out on the 20th of April, and we'll be playing it at La Belle
It's a fucking rompous riot.
with some boys. We got Kingpin,
We do have Kingpin.
we got Ephrian,
We got Iron Altar.
we got Iron
Yes.
Altar.
Yeah, and it's a fucking nasty good lineup, and it would be really nice to see a whole bunch of pals there.
A whole bunch of
Yeah.
nasty good pals.
And it's 420, and you get your blaze on.
Yeah.
There's some fucking weedy riffs.
So yeah, let's just wrap this one up. That was good. We had a little therapy session there at the
Yeah,
end.
that was cathartic and beautiful. Thank you very much.
Why does this
everybody.
always happen when the three of us get in a room together? It starts off so great and we're laughing our asses off about fucking grapefruits, and then an hour later it's like, hey, are you depressed? Because I am.
I mean, I think we should have just kept it at grapefruits, and we probably would have been in a better mood. Even just reminding ourselves about the making of this album just makes us all very sad.
Yeah, just
So let's
Every
just
time we talk
forget.
about the album, it comes across like it was this horrible ordeal
Yeah.
because we always seem to focus like on the negative bits that happened because
The
for
thing
some
is,
reason
there
they
was
would
so
stick
much
in my
fun
head.
there.
It's like bad news. Bad news always reads better than good news because
Yeah.
good news you're kind of like, well, why is this news? Good things happen all the time.
Yeah.
Whereas bad news happens, it's like, oh my god, a big headline about fucking
Yeah.
death and despair. So yeah, we always seem to talk about the negative parts of making the album.
It's quite
But-
sad, because it
yeah,
really
but-
was a positive experience. I really enjoyed
I
it.
thought it was fucking brilliant.
Yeah,
like
it
I
was
haven't
great.
verbalized that yet today, but the making of the album was fucking great and I loved it.
So everyone's gonna
And I'm dead happy with it.
Yeah, I just looked very, very like nah. I mean, it's literally just because I was recording a fair amount of it.
yeah.
Uh,
Cunts are gonna hear us just going on and on about the album. Like, I'm not gonna listen to this, man. Hey, like, this has ruined these guys. They're miserable. Like,
if
gotta
anything,
be a
if
crap
anything, if I
album.
was listening to this and I was like, this album like destroyed me as a person, it's like, well, I'm gonna fucking listen to that.
Yeah, it's all a marketing technique. All these lies we've just told about the process.
It's actually, I
it was
didn't even
actually
fucking
just
record the
smiles
album.
and
There isn't even an album. It doesn't exist. It's all just in our head. We're all in a mental asylum right now. I don't exist.
Billy Island. Anyway,
Thank you so much for listening to episode 8. That was an interesting one. Be interesting to see what
You sure
everyone
it's
has to say
episode
about that one. It is episode 8.
Episode 8.
Thank you so much for
Cheers,
listening.
boys.
goodbye,
Bye.
lads and ladettes, ladies. Sorry.